Hey everybody, I'm Nick Von Walkerworth and you're listening to the Von Dubcast. These intros I usually talk a little bit about the guests, what we talk about, and a bit about my life and what's been happening in it. If you want to skip right to the interview, skip to about 6 minutes. If not, buckle up, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the episode number 132 of the Von Dubcast. Today we have the Blockchain Bros, Ben and Joe, back on for their second appearance on the podcast. The first one was one of the most popular episodes we've done. We broke down their story of growing up in northern Alberta in a very unique community and their departure from that and kind of striking it out on their own and risking everything and investing all of their money into cryptocurrency and learning harsh lessons, losing everything, gaining it all back, losing it again, gaining it all back. And it just was harrowing. And through that conversation and a bunch of conversations around that, we've got to know each other pretty well. And they're just really great guys, just not only intelligent and hardworking, but also just, good people. They're very kind and they want to help others. And they've started this YouTube channel, the Blockchain Bros YouTube channel, which should be linked in the description. There's also a Twitter page and an Instagram page. It should all be linked in the description. And they just want to help people change their lives with crypto like it changed them. And not just cryptocurrencies, but NFTs and kind of everything under that blockchain umbrella. And they do a really good job of explaining it because they didn't, these guys don't have no fancy degrees or nothing. They figured this shit out on their own and they did it the hard way and they learned hard lessons and they really want to share that with others. And I really respect that. And I always have a great time talking to them. I always learn a hell of a lot. And, we just did I don't know how long this podcast was, at least 2 and a bit hours. And then we, bullshitted me, them and my dad for another hour after that and had a few beers. And it's just a great time. Really love what they have to say today. Because we went through kind of their backstory in the last episode, and I definitely would recommend people go back and listen to that. And we do, talk a lot about this whole cryptocurrency world on the last episode as well. But on this one, we kind of go through how to get started. And they have accompanying YouTube videos on their channel that will kind of walk you through with visuals and stuff if you want to get further into it. But this kind of breaks down all of that. And then towards the end, we talk, probably the last half an hour was, probably way too close to home of just what it takes to be successful. And they were, Ben was really speaking a lot of truth that was hitting me, I think, too close to home. And it was just, line after line of exactly probably what I need to hear. But I think what you need to hear is always the most painful about, what are you willing to sacrifice? And have you really, if you want to be great and you want to accomplish great things, like what are you willing to give up and what have you given up so far? And just, it's got me, it's got my wheels turning and I think I need to, I don't know. It's not like I didn't know this going into it, but I just, added another couple layers onto the fact that I need to really buckle down and put some more effort into what I'm doing here. And I think that's, never fun to hear, but is important nonetheless and has me really inspired. I love talking to these guys and we're going to start doing, probably a bi-weekly episode where we talk about whatever is in this, whatever's not entertaining, whatever's got our minds racing in this crypto world, whether it's something that a new project that they see, or maybe questions that I have just with my musings of noodling around on the very edges of this world. And then if you guys would like to suggest any questions that you have that maybe in the 2 podcasts you haven't heard an answer to, or maybe any topics or projects that you are excited about that you want us to maybe dive into, please send that my way or to them on their social media. Either way, we're looking to, it's a topic that is very near and dear to their hearts and they have a ton of passion for, and I am maybe a little bit less passionate about it, but endlessly fascinated by it. I could ask them questions for hours on this, and it seems like the more I ask them, the more new questions come up, and I think we could probably do it, more than every 2 weeks. But just to start, that's kind of what we have planned to do, and hopefully we can start to use some of that content for their YouTube channel as well and help each other out on that front. And I think it's just a world that so many people are curious about and it's very intimidating. And I think these guys are very good at bringing it down to a level that you can understand and taking away a lot of the fear and the uncertainty around it so that you can at least get your toes in the water and start to learn it for yourself. And that's what it's all about. That's what they preach. They see a lot of guys that just want it spoon fed to them. And as much as they are super into helping everybody else out, they don't want to just lead you astray by trying to spoon feed you the stuff. They want to make you understand what you need to be able to be successful in this world. And that comes with making mistakes, right? That's how they learned. And as much as they want to help you learn from the mistakes that they made, they understand that there's no way of diving into this world without, breaking a few eggs to make an omelet. So they want to help you do that in the most clean, effective way possible. And I think they're just really great at it. And I just, like I said at the start, I think they're just great people. So I always enjoy sitting down with people like this. Sorry, I didn't have an episode on Monday. I'm in Slave Lake for this week. I'm going to be doing not only this episode, we just recorded on Monday. If you're listening to this, it releases Tuesday morning. I'll be recording episodes all week here. And if you have anybody if you're from Slave Lake and you know anybody that you think would be a great podcast guest this week, please send them my way. I'm hoping to record at least, 5 or 6 episodes while I'm here. And other than that, please follow their YouTube channels that should be linked below. Please follow the Von Hubcast on all social medias. That really helps. Please share these episodes with someone. Maybe you know somebody in your life that is into this crypto stuff and you think they would enjoy this. Please pass it on to them. That's how these podcasts grow, is word of mouth more than anything. And it means the world to me. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And other than that, I will see you guys in the outro. Bye. All right. Thanks for being here again, boys. What's been happening?
Thanks for having us, Nick. It's been a long time.
Oh, yes, it
Pleasure
has.
to be back.
Yeah, no, what's it been? Probably 6 months since we did the last one or something, at least, I would say.
Is
snow
it
on the
that
ground.
long? I hope it's not, because
Might have been
accomplished that
Yeah.
much.
Do you want to just pull that mic up just a little bit closer to you, Ben? There you go.
Is that better?
That's a little better. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. No, that's. I think since we spoke last, I've bought my first 2 NFTs through you guys, and that's been very exciting. I haven't done much with them, but just kind of, I know we want to talk about a little bit of, how to get started in this stuff. And you guys, since we did that episode, have walked me through getting started in the crypto world and all the different things to download. And that was, a lot for me to wrap my head around. But I'm just kind of curious, before we get into that, since we talked last, the world of crypto, how's things been? Has it been, because the world's been kind of a crazy place since then. There's been wars, there's been all this stuff. Like, how's things sitting?
Probably about the same. We're still hoping for a bull run, and it's kind of showing it will happen, and then it retraces. But yeah, the data is there to get a bull run, same as last time, but it's still not there.
Right.
That's what crypto is all about. That's why most people can't invest in crypto.
Because they're just they can't have the longevity to stay in it.
Yeah, because when it's down, you have to invest in crypto.
And the other thing is, when you think it's down, like last time we talked, I think that was during the time that we invested quite heavily in some stuff.
I think
right?
you were, because I think last time we chatted, there's lots of excitement, lots of things kind of on the horizon.
And some of those projects, I think, were probably down 90%. I kid you not.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it just happened. Some of them we're doing really well, and some of them, we're negative. So
that's crypto, right?
It is. It's a fun game, man. I wouldn't want to do anything other.
Yeah, exactly. So going into that, and like, from what we talked about last time and all the conversations we've had off the podcast, you guys put a lot of research into the ones you want to get into, and you look at a lot of, who owns it, I think is what you mentioned last time was a big thing, and the community around it. In seeing, since then, there's been ones that are big up and big down. Have you learned any more lessons on kind of what to look for, and kind of added anything to your list of what you look for in them over the last couple of months?
There's so many more do nots than well, this is funny. Like when the bull run is going, or everybody's bullish, anything works, right? But once it doesn't, I found right now, if we're talking NFTs, I still can't wrap my head around which ones to pick and which not. Like, I know which ones I feel have value, but they're not doing as well as the ones that do nothing.
Right.
Like, we had this, what were they called? Moonbirds?
Yeah, moonbirds.
Moonbirds.
Yeah. Like nothing. It looked like nothing. And I am in a group with some very, very heavy hitters. Like, I have got some great connections since then.
Yeah.
Like, I got in some Discords that probably have billionaires in it, right? And none of them got into Moonbirds. They're like, dude, this is stupid and dumb. I think they started at an ETH or two, and they're at 30 some Ethereum.
Yeah, they're at 34 ETH or something like that.
And is that another one of those projects that doesn't have a bunch of tokenomics behind it? It's more of just like the art kind of thing. I can't remember what.
It's not even art. The art looks like crap.
Right.
So
it's the clout kind of thing. It's just it's the notoriety.
Yeah, it's the hype, right?
Right.
And
the hype.
But what I did learn is some of our projects that even had a name, if there's not too much happening within it, like get out.
Right.
There's
cut your losses early or don't
cut your loss. Like there is a few projects that we paid 3 ETH for, and they're down to an ETH now.
Right.
And everybody knows the man, the name, the brand, but just isn't delivering like they say. And I started learning the minute someone doesn't really start delivering, and it kind of feels. Don't hold on to a name either.
Right.
Like get out. It doesn't matter how well the name is.
Don't get connected to a project.
No.
Yeah.
No. Don't marry anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you say that's more? Just my intuition would be that would be more so for those ones that are mostly hype, because like what I think about the only 2 NFTs that I bought, the Sugar Sean one, that MMA fighter I really like, and then the Full Send one, and there's things behind it that make me believe in it more so than the hype. And that one, not that they're doing too bad. I mean, you guys probably would know better than I would. I don't even look at the shit of what they're actually worth financially.
I think last I checked,
just under an ETH.
No, it actually was over again. Last I checked, it was just
and that's about what it
I think
paid
you paid
for.
1 ETH
Yeah,
for it.
right. So, but even having said that, even if it was down to half an ETH, quarter ETH, now I wouldn't even be, because I got into it for a different reason, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. So there's 2 different train of thoughts there, right? I mean, we're in for the money, and also there's some that we just do for fun, right?
Right.
So the ones I do for fun, I don't care about the price,
right?
But if I want to make money, which 99% of the time that's what I want to do, then you
need to be selling out a little bit earlier and jumping on that. And I think that's it's funny because I feel like in some of our other talks we were talking about the traditional kind of finance guys, their instincts that they have. And I think that was one of those ones where we talked about with crypto, you got to kind of stay in longer and stuff too. And now it sounds like we're kind of coming around on at least some of them, right? We just discussed it. This isn't a catch-all for all of them, but maybe it is, you got to be a little bit quicker on the draw on some of those and get out before.
Well, and like I said, like even though there's people with a good name, if they don't deliver, right now, especially in a bear market, like in a bull market, it doesn't matter. But in a bear market, it just dumps. And there's so much negative energy around it that you don't want to hang around. And you're better off to just say, you know what, I'm going to outlet, especially if you don't have a lot of extra funds that you want to use that money for the next thing. Then sometimes you're better off doing that. Right. So, but there's definitely long-term projects that I have that are down and I don't care. And I just buy more. So kind of I think it's more of just learning to the gut feel of what you think. Right?
Yeah, learning an intuition around this stuff. It's a new space and you have to build an intuition. Yeah. And I guess that'd be for people that want to get into it. That's something that you got to know going in. You're going to have to build that yourself, right? If you can listen to all the podcasts, go in every Discord, never get off of Twitter for 20 hours a day, but you still got to build that for yourself, right? Those are all good tools, but until you build that gut intuition, you're kind of a little bit in the dark at least.
99% in the dark, right?
Yeah, you'll probably have to lose some money to make money usually.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good of an investor you are. If you come into this space, it's so different from what you're used to. And that intuition is important, right? And we're learning as we're going, and some things work good and some don't, but we've come a long way with that for sure.
So now when you say it's a bit more of a bear market now, is that on like the projects that are in the market, how they're performing and like that sort of thing? Or is it also the amount of new ones coming in? Because I feel like, especially the first time we talked, it seemed like everybody was coming out with an NFT. Like there was just so many, like the market was growing so much. Has that slowed down as well? Or is it still just like how they're doing and the new mints aren't getting to those as high of highs, but the market is still growing and growing. There's new projects coming in all the time, or has that slowed down too?
No, the market is actually performing better. Like there's higher quality stuff coming. All the shit content that was coming out, that slows down by a long shot because they're not making money. Right. But long-term high quality projects, if they're still shitty ones.
Oh, for sure.
But now
always will be.
Now is a way better time to get in because they don't really have the hype around them, right? So there's a lot of projects that probably 3-4 months down the road can be very, very successful, but right now nobody really cares. There's just no energy, no buying energy around. Nobody wants to spend money. Everybody's fearful.
And on top of that, I just had a guy on last week from town here that played in this world's longest hockey game, right? And they're doing it for charity for cancer, and they've done it a couple years in a row. And they, I think they'd made like 1.5 million the first time, 2 million the second time. I think they made just over a million this time. I was thinking, like, going into it, they know just with the economy and how things are right now, everybody's tight going through all the COVID stuff. People's pockets aren't as full to risk right now as well, right? Like so I wonder if it's tough to judge the validity of the market without knowing what people have to spend, because like maybe these projects are just as good and there's just as much excitement behind them, just not a lot of fluid cash to be able to throw at these things from a lot of people around the world.
Not in the crypto space. I disagree with that.
Yeah?
Yeah, like there's a lot of people with a lot of liquidity, but they're too scared to use it. They're all like, we have a bear, we're going to wait till the bottom is in. So nobody's buying because they're waiting for the bottom to be confirmed.
Right.
So since nobody's buying, it's a bottomless pit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Until someone starts stepping it up and the market starts changing the rhythm, then, it's just the same old vicious cycle.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. I think I'm going to pull us down. I could keep shooting questions at you guys the whole time, but I think maybe to start, and we'll get back to these questions and all this stuff because I got a million of them, but maybe where do you guys think we should start of kind of taking people through how to get started in this space? Kind of, I would imagine similar to what you guys showed me and took me through on my laptop sitting upstairs here a couple months back when you showed me all those things, the marketplaces and the wallets and all those type of things. Where do you think we should start if there's someone sitting at home that wants that walkthrough?
Well, first they need to identify how do they want to do it. Do you want to be an investor and help kind of build in the space, be in Discord, or do you just want to buy like a certain amount every month, or do you want to be a day trader? That's right. Kind of different things you have to identify first, I'd say. Okay,
so then of those three things you kind of laid out, I would imagine like if somebody's just looking for the simplest thing to get their toes in the water, maybe even if some of those other things you described would be something they want to get into later, but probably the first thing of just buying a little bit, right? Buying a little bit each month. Is that probably the easiest first step, would you say?
Easiest way to get your toes wet, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So you think that'd be a good place to start? And then I think we should probably go over those things too, but deciding that, and maybe there's some people out there that have really been waiting in the market. And that was something that was interesting to me after we did this first conversation. I had a couple of my buddies that I had no idea were even in this space. And they came to me after that. Oh yeah, I've been, buying a little bit of this, buying a little bit of that. And they're just trying to build that intuition, like you said, and they're ready to jump in. So there might be some people that are going to skip that toes in the water step because they've been everything but jumping in the water, but they've been practicing their breaststroke on land and putting their water wings on and stuff, and they're ready to jump in. So maybe it's good to talk about people that want to go a little bit further in the water. I would say
definitely don't do it in a bull market. Do it in a bear market.
Yeah. So this is the time.
Start swimming when nobody else is in the lake.
Yeah.
It's the best time, right?
Yeah.
So when everybody else, like I said, everybody's fearful, that's the time to spend the most money, right?
Yeah.
The chances are that it can go lower, sure. Mm-hmm. But the risk versus reward is way better. So that's something that you have to learn that it's a hard muscle to build to go exact opposite from what mainstream media and Twitter and everybody says, right? So that's a hard muscle to build for me anyway. So
yeah, I bet. And it's that counterintuitive. And it seems like in all these conversations we've had, so much of it is counterintuitive, right? What you would instinctually think is the right call, it's kind of flipped on its head with this stuff. And that's hard for people to wrap their head around. I think that's probably a lot of what keeps people from dipping their toes in, or what makes it so common to hear people that, like you said, you got to lose a bit of money at the start to build, to learn those lessons, right? I think that's what's good about, at least for me, to be able to talk to you guys and learn the lessons through you guys. And that's what's nice about doing conversations like this and your guys' YouTube channel, is you can maybe fill in a few of those pitfalls for the people that are, trying to jump in, and maybe they're going to have to make their own mistakes, but if there's one or two you guys can make for them, they're just that much further ahead.
Everything that we've done to get to this point, we've made a lot of mistakes on, right? Yeah. So there's definitely a lot that, I'm not saying it works every time and is picture perfect, setup or system to go by, but it's definitely foolproof. Treated us well.
Yeah.
And I would say, like you said earlier, if you have someone that wants to get their toes wet, go get a MetaMask account made. Right. First step.
So let's start there. So a it's MetaMask or MetaMask. I already forgot. I have one and I can't remember.
Well, it's spelled METAMASK.
MASK. So MetaMask account.
Yeah.
What is a MetaMask account? Is that your wallet?
That is your decentralized wallet.
Decentralized wallet, right? And this is
MetaMask is like it's a multi-chain wallet. You can have Ethereum, but you can add a different chain. The main chain is obviously Ethereum, but then you can add BNB, Matic, and whatever chain you want.
Right. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility. And just to make sure we don't skip over this, because I think you already said something that's very important that I think a ton of people don't understand. And this is one of the hardest places I have to explain to the layman in this idea is the decentralized wallet, right? Because so many people hear about this crypto, maybe they listen to a podcast or something, they get really excited about the idea of cryptocurrencies or NFTs or all these things, and then they go, what is the easiest way to get in there? And they go to something like, crypto.com or what are one of those other centralized ones where I was going to jump in trying to say, but maybe I'll put it back to you guys. You guys are the experts. Why would you lean people go away? What gives them the benefits of a decentralized account like a MetaMask account versus one of those, Visa crypto or one of those type of things?
Well, I think it's a great start. Like I said, if you want to do a monthly and you don't know anything, it's a great way to get your toes wet. But you don't get the full crypto experience because, like all the projects that we get into, it's long before they get onto crypto.com.
Right. So if a certain coin or a certain project gets enough groundswell, enough support, it kind of grows to a point, then it gets added at that point. But at that point that it gets added onto a crypto.com, all the real juice has been squeezed, right? The returns have been made by guys like you that were on it 6 months before that.
It's not 100%, but usually that's the case. Every once in a while, there's a centralized project that comes out and you can't buy the dang thing decentralized for the longest time.
Really?
That happens, but
So there's some that come out centralized and don't have access on the outside of it.
Yeah.
Interesting. How, can you think of an example of that? I just can't wrap my head around why. Is that a project that is backed by one of those big centralized ones?
Well, it's always a project that has comes from the outside, right? And they run as a traditional company, right?
And,
so like the UFC NFTs that they drop, those Strike NFTs that to me are absolute horseshit.
I haven't bought one. I would have bought every single UFC fight card or NFT that comes into existence. I haven't bought one because you got to go buy them like that, and it is because it's for their taxes and for all this stuff, right? But if we're building the world of decentralized crypto and decentralized world, it gets built on Web3, which starts from some guy's basement somewhere usually, right? And
do you think it's worth taking the detour to try and explain what Web3 is to people, or do you think that's just going to get too confusing? Could we jump back to MetaMask and getting in started?
I think there's so many roots we can come back to.
Okay, I'll write that down.
We'll circle back to that one.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a common thread throughout this because there's just so many rabbit holes. Each one has 6 different ways we could go on top, but probably have to keep me in line here because I just go off on rabbit holes of keeping us through. So
here's what I would say. Just sorry to cut you off, but for someone to start, like we talked about, I think there's a few principles that I find that work very well for us. And this is where most people get lost that don't know anything about the space. And it's so hard. You look at something and you don't know what it is. You don't know where it is, right? So I would say, like I said, get the MetaMask account set up. Yeah. Go to CoinGecko and we can go over this.
Right.
Then go follow the top 10 projects in whatever sector you enjoy. So think of the world of crypto the same as a traditional world. You have the finance world, you have the, the gaming world, you have the, the brick and mortar businesses, you have all these different types of coins being built. Everybody thinks a coin is a coin. It's not, right? It's what are they building, right? So pick the space that you enjoy the most and then go into the category and go follow the top 10 or 15 if you feel risky, go follow those on Twitter, Instagram. If they have Instagram, most of them don't, but go follow them on Twitter. And usually they have a Medium post. Go read everything you can about them. Go into their Discord groups and just get involved. Like, just learn what people are talking about. Don't even put money into it, but get involved in the space. And what you're going to find is don't jump on anything anybody says, because there's a lot of Joe Blows in every Discord as well, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to start learning what's true and what's not true, right? So once you find that, go follow the people that are true on their Twitters, right? So once you start doing that, you're going to start building your web of people that you can kind of trust, and they know what they're talking about. Yeah. So once you start doing that, then you're going to find these new projects. So let's say you're a gamer and you follow this gaming world, right? And then all of a sudden someone in that Discord is going to say, hey, I just found this, or maybe it's like, hey, I'm building this project. I need some, advice. I need some help. I need this. I need that. You can go into their Discord and start getting involved. Yeah. And they'll give you like a free whitelist spot. They might even give you a free mint. They might give you X amount of coins for free, right? So that's, I think, for a 16 to a 20-year-old that, like we were in Calgary talking to some people like that, right? Yeah. I think that's the best way. Like, spend your time into it, learn whatever you can learn on that space, get involved in that sector, and just go harder than anybody else.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna keep doing this to you guys just to keep backing up and define terms. So first is get a MetaMask account, which we kind of talked about, is your decentralized wallet where you're going to be putting coin into, where you're going to be, any NFT projects you want to purchase, it's all going to live there. You also mentioned CoinGecko. Could you just explain
before you actually even go to CoinGecko, if you want to buy, you have to fund that MetaMask, which you'll probably need like a ShakePay or maybe the crypto.com or something like that for.
Yeah, because you can actually buy with a crypto card or with a MasterCard on MetaMask, but I highly, highly advise against that.
Tax reasons?
Well, you're centralized again.
Central, yeah. It defeats the purpose of you might as well do everything.
I don't want to say don't go pay any taxes, but I got to be careful what I say. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you want to use something that has none of your information on it? Like a MetaMask account, there's none of your information. Why do you want to fill out information and put your MasterCard into it? Why would you not rather go set up a centralized account and use your MasterCard, because it's all connected, because it's like a bank account?
Yeah. Unless you call your MasterCard after and say it was stolen.
There you go. That's another way.
So why would you want to do that, right? It's so easy to just transfer money there, right? And then it kind of is a little, it's a little different, right?
So you're gonna, first step is to make a MetaMask account. Then you need to fund it, and you can use one of those centralized things. But if you're building a MetaMask to be decentralized, why would you then go through a centralized route? Now you've lost all the benefits of being decentralized by now putting yourself back into that centralized. Maybe not all of them, but you're getting away from it. So then you brought up ShakePay as a way to fund it.
The only way to buy crypto in Canada is centralized. So you will have to go through a centralized system. Like, we always use ShakePay.
Okay, so
because it's very simple.
What is ShakePay? Like MetaMask is your guys' preferred wallet, right? I'm just trying to think of terms of, like, in general, what is ShakePay? Is it
it's a bank account.
It's a bank account.
You would classify it under a bank account, right? Where you can, connect. You can actually connect your bank account to it, and transfer money into it, buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, and from there you can send it. It works the same as
goes both ways. You can, like, if you want to cash out of crypto, you can e-transfer money into your bank account from there, whatever.
And it works the same as PayPal. So if me and you both have ShakePay, and I want to send you money, I can just, it's in my contacts. I see that, I can transfer you crypto like that. So it's kind of cool if you have a lot of friends that use it and you horse trade back and forth, then it's really cool. Yeah.
And keeps on. So we've got the wallet, we've got the bank account, which is your guys' two preferred, be MetaMask and ShakePay. Then what was the other term I wanted to, then CoinGecko. What would that be? Like, what is that? And then what is what is a CoinGecko? Is that, I'm trying to remember back because you guys have taken me through all this and I should know it. I'm just struggling to remember. Is that CoinGecko? Is that like kind of the marketplace where you look at the prices of everything? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would someone want to have CoinGecko? Why would they download that? You mentioned that as one of the first steps.
There's a couple of reasons why we use that. Is not just anybody can go and post a coin on CoinGecko. Mm-hmm. They put it on there as well. Like you have to. There's still a ton of scams on there, but if a new project comes out that we know, like this is a project we want to buy, they post their contract address on there, and now we know that that is the correct contract address. That's one thing that CoinGecko verifies,
right?
And it's also the verified websites on there, and the verified Twitters, and the verified mediums, to
make sure you're not buying into some scam one that is, Bitcoin, but the I is a 1, and it's some, exactly. You're not buying Bitcoin, you're buying some,
you're sending money into somebody's wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of a verified to all the projects that are coming into the space. It's kind of just a filter. And like you said, it's not a perfect filter. Things get through, but it's a good first step to make sure that the thing that you're excited about buying is actually that. And you can verify the address, the contract, the Twitter page to make sure what you get is what you're going to get.
See, what they verify is that contract address is the correct one for the coin. But what they can't verify is if you're going to steal the money or not.
like anybody can make me and you can make a coin, right? Mm-hmm. And so you get a long code, just like you would have in a bank account, like your account number, right? So that's what they verify, that account number matches with the coin.
Okay.
Right? But that doesn't mean that coin is legit.
Yeah.
So but then they do verify, like on a project that we know is coming out and that we like, they're going to verify that that's the legit Twitter account. It's the legit Discord, so that way, if I want to go follow someone on Twitter, a project, I go on CoinGecko and search the coin and follow them on Twitter through that, because I know because Twitter has a lot of scams too, right? Mm-hmm. So there's always these fake names and fake stuff.
Yeah, we do the same thing if we want to go on a website. If you go on CoinGecko and click on the website, you have the correct one.
Right.
Where otherwise you search it and maybe you didn't catch that one stupid one instead of an I or something like that.
Yeah. And now you're sending it to someone's bank account.
Yeah.
So your MetaMask account is going to be kind of your wallet where you're buying things in and out of. Your CoinGecko or crypto, whatever equivalent bank account is what's going to put your starting funds into your MetaMask account so you can start purchasing, buying, trading type things. And CoinGecko is what you're using to verify any projects that you're wanting to buy, and kind of works as almost a library to keep things honest and keep your understanding clear.
Yeah, and you can make an account there because MetaMask doesn't work as a traditional trading account where you can see you can go and see everything in there, right? But what CoinGecko does is you can make a portfolio there, and then you can manually enter. I bought this coin at this price. I bought this amount, right? Yeah. So then we use that as our main
portfolio tracker.
Yeah, like a portfolio tracker that we just use to, we bought this coin at this price, is where it's at, right? And they have the basic charts for it, not like candlesticks, but they just have the line charts for
there's also CoinMarketCap, which there's just, I don't know, we use CoinGecko for something.
It's like Samsung and Apple there.
For sure. And that's exactly why I was trying to come up with not only like, because you're going to say your guys' preferred one, like MetaMask, CoinGecko, ShakePay. But then I was also trying to get some sort of term as a general, because there are a bunch of equivalents, right? Like MetaMask is a wallet, right? And there's, what would be another, like what is another one that's MetaMask?
Well, there's My Ether wallet and stuff like that. But the only one that you can use for everything is
MetaMask.
Yeah,
MetaMask. I don't know anybody in crypto that does not use MetaMask.
Right. So it's pretty ubiquitous in that one.
Yeah.
But then the ShakePay one, that is, we kind of came up with bank account as a name for it, but there's quite a few of those.
Yeah, well, there's Coinbase, there's Crypto.com, there's ShakePay, there is...
You can buy on Binance as well.
Binance. Mm-hmm. There's a gazillion ways to do that, right?
Gotcha.
ShakePay is only a Canadian option.
Oh, okay.
It used to be stupid simple with ShakePay. Like, you basically put your name and phone number and stuff in. It's gotten more complicated too. I helped a friend set it up a little while back, and I was like, oh shit, they want to know a lot more stuff than what they did a while back, right? So, but yeah, no, we just used it because it was simple. Yeah. I mean, I got nothing against Crypto.com. Coinbase works as well. A lot of people don't really like A lot of people use Coinbase. I know a lot of people in my crypto portfolio, or the people that I follow, they actually use Binance, but that's more advanced. Like that, if you don't know what you're doing, you get lost a lot quicker. So ShakePay is the easiest without getting lost.
Okay, so this is I think I was misunderstanding something then. So now, crypto.com functions as that, where you can buy funds and bring it into your MetaMask account. But then, could you also just not have a MetaMask account and just leave things in that crypto.com, but it'll be centralized?
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
So essentially what the crypto.com functions as is it's centralized because you have to tie banking information to buy it, and then you can bring it out of that. And then once it's out of that system into your MetaMask, it's now decentralized and anonymous. And
and the thing with any trading, Joe does all the tech stuff I just find projects, and Joe does all the behind the scenes stuff. But the difference from a Coinbase to a MetaMask is you don't own the Pacific coin. It's like a company, right? So the company buys, like, so let's say me and you owned.
I would almost say it's as a bank.
Yeah. So let's say me and you own crypto.com.
Okay.
And we want to have another coin on our project. Let's say even Ethereum. We want to have Ethereum in our wallet, right?
Right.
So me and you would have to go buy 100,000 Ethereum. And then if people buy it, it's basically like, okay, yeah, you have this amount of Ethereum, but it's still in our wallet, right?
Like me, when my first only Bitcoin that I own, I did it through Wealthsimple Crypto. I don't own that Bitcoin. Wealthsimple owns that crypto, and I have a piece of paper that says they owe me that much if I want to cash out at whatever value on the day I want to cash it out.
That's right.
So then that functions the same as the crypto.com, but then once you take it out of crypto.com and put it into your MetaMask, now you own it. That's you buying it from them. You're buying their Ethereum off them and putting it into your account. Now you own it.
So what crypto.com does is say you have one Ethereum in there and you want to go buy, let's just say the crypto.com coin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pay a gas fee to get that. Where decentralized, you have to pay probably a $20, $30 gas fee, but that is to transfer those coins into your MetaMask account. Where this is just like a bank, and they're like, okay, let's put a number here and say you have this now.
Right.
So if you transfer, now let's say you want to transfer that Ethereum out back into your MetaMask account, or back into your MetaMask account, you will now have to pay a gas fee because you're sending actual Ethereum from their Ethereum into your MetaMask account, right?
Right. And I know we did discuss this on the last episode, but just there's probably going to be some people that didn't see the first episode, and definitely go listen to the first episode. It's great, and we cover a lot of this stuff, and you'll probably have a leg up on this conversation here if you do listen to it. But if not, maybe could you guys just explain gas fees again too for people that maybe don't understand them?
Yeah, so it's basically just a fee.
It's a transaction.
It's just a transaction fee. So there's these thousands of computers across the globe that verify that this is the correct, that this everything is legit, right? And those computers have to get paid as well.
Right.
And that's what the gas fee is.
That's the basic.
That's the mining fee.
Yeah. So. and that's probably the only benefit of going centralized is they kind of they pay all that stuff to there is no gas fees because they've already purchased it, and they're just saying it's just a piece of paper. Nothing's actually changing hands. They're just saying, no, we're telling you own this, right? It's like the bank account, right? Like when you have your $100,000 life savings in the bank account, right? They can take that money and lend it out to other people and all this stuff. It's their money until you come take it out. It's not yours again, right?
Yeah. See, and that's another thing when you have a MetaMask account and you have $100,000 in there. Now you can go and lend that out, and you can earn interest
you can do
on
the
that.
same thing. You're the
That's another step, maybe for the next.
that's for a few levels above. But that's what gets me excited, right? Once people start seeing that's where people are hooked. Crypto's a one-way door. You get your toes wet. Yeah. So you get you buy some, and then you get intrigued a little more. You set up a MetaMask, then you start doing that, and you play around, and then you notice, I don't really need a bank account. These guys are going to pay me 12% from a month. So it's a fun rabbit hole to go down.
And one cooler is once they start paying you to borrow money.
Yeah, and they do that.
Oh, and that's probably a little bit past the toes. That's probably when you're up to your knees when you get into that.
Probably
point,
your neck.
Yeah. All right. It's just I was gonna say that, but I just feel like I never want to assume it's up to the neck, because every time I think I know where the neck is in this analogy, I realize, oh no, I was only at the knees, and there's so much more you can do with it. You know what I mean?
Well, like, this is still
that's the same for us.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so I think we've defined some terms, and just to, again, we're going to be doing a lot of backtracking here, but just for that person that wants to get in, they're going to set up a MetaMask account. They're going to find some sort of preferred bank to fund that MetaMask account to purchase whatever they want. Like a Shake Pay, they're going to pick the lane they want to go into, whether that's kind of gaming, whether that's NFTs, whether it's, just your traditional cryptos, like your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, I don't even know what's up. It's come so far. And then following them on Twitter and other things. And a thing that has come up a bunch of times and we haven't defined it. This is probably the last term, I think, of all the terms that we can get back into it. Of just the whole first part of this is probably just going to be defining terms, is Discord. Can you guys break down just what Discord is? And then, like, because I know what Discord is, but I'm sure there's some people listening that just don't know what Discord is.
That really baffles me. How many, like, I talked, because I am, what's funny, because we do a lot of stuff with traditional business people, right? Yeah. And we talk about this and they're like, well, we don't know. I always assume everybody knows what Discord is. Yeah. And I get so much backlash from these older people that are like, nobody knows what Discord is. I was like, yeah, everybody does except you. So Discord is basically like a social media platform.
Right.
That anybody can build a channel on. Mm-hmm. And you can have a lot of different lanes within your channel. So let's say you have a Discord group, right? So
I do. I just haven't made it public. I have a Von Dubcast Discord because I had this great idea to make a Von Dubcast Discord for, guests that have been on. Fans of the show can bring up guest ideas, can talk about the topics that we talked about, and kind of connect the people that are a fan of this podcast. And they can connect on there, which is a good idea in theory. I just never got it past the starting line.
So that's what. So you just explain what Discord is.
Yeah.
So that is what Discord is, right? Yeah. So it's
the cool thing about Discord and why I think it gets used in the crypto as well a bit more often is that when you buy an NFT, Discord has a bot in there as well that you can verify now that you own that NFT. Right. Now they open up an exclusive chat for you.
And that's the biggest thing, that with the two NFTs that I bought, the Full Send Nelk Boys one that I bought and the Sugar Sean one, they both have very active Discords, and there's so much happening in those Discords that I'm doing myself a huge disservice by not being in them. And that's probably the first thing we're going to do after this conversation, because the Nelk Boys had a whole private concert with Snoop Dogg and stuff down in the States, with everything all inclusive if you're a Metacard holder. That just happened. I had no idea it happened. And they're like, oh, well, aren't you in the Discord? Right? No, I'm not. Right. And
all the announcements, like anything, everything's going to happen in there. Right.
And any new projects they have coming out, it's all being talked about and kind of fleshed out.
So in crypto, generally, there's like the official, like usually up on top, they have their official links. So all their Twitters and all that stuff is going to be there. Then they have their announcements of all the stuff that they're working. And then there's usually a general chat for just people that are interested in the project. They just chat in there and ask questions, and usually a lot of stupid stuff that's
gets your head spinning. Don't want to go in there.
Yeah. Get PTSDs being in there.
Memes and internet bullshit.
And then there's usually the verification process, like especially not with coins, but especially with NFTs, that you verify, and then you're in exclusive group, like Joe said, just with the people that have it. And so there's a lot of good
right. And like those ones that everyone likes to laugh at, like those Bored Apes and what's the other big one? CryptoPunks. They have, so now you own one of these 1,000. Everyone goes, oh, you own the stupid picture online that anybody can copy. And it's like, sure, you can look at it that way, but you also get access to a Discord with all the other owners. So now let's say I'm just going to pull numbers out of my ass because I have no idea, but like say there's 1,000 of these CryptoPunks, and 1,000 of these people that are worth at least $500,000 if they own one of these things, right? Maybe way more. So now you are in this private Discord conversation with 1,000 pretty fucking bigwigs, right, around the world, and that's worth something in itself, right?
Well, that's where all the alpha is, right? So this is why I'm saying, like, you won't get into those groups right away. It's hard. You don't know how hard we worked to get into any groups, right? So that's why I say go into crypto or CoinGecko, go follow these, and then another tip that I was just gonna put in there is go follow like whoever they are following. Like let's say you're following, let's say Superfarm, which is a project that
you guys showed me
I hold near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So let's say you follow them, right? Whoever they are following, make sure you follow them as well.
Right.
And if there's blue check marks that follow that project, it's probably a good idea. Not necessarily all blue check marks are, but it gives you you're going to start getting this group of exclusive people.
Yeah.
You're going to understand who the exclusive people in crypto are real quick. Within 3 months, you're going to have that figured out real good, because you're going to start seeing patterns where this guy is in every damn group. It doesn't matter where I go. This guy is everywhere, right? So that's what you want to start. And then start when that guy's talking, start listening to that guy, right? So that's how you're going to start building that, right?
Right.
And then you're going to start getting into these new projects. And, if you're up on it and you're doing something, they're going to offer you and say, hey, you want to come into my Discord, and, you can just be in there and chill, and you're going to get alpha information. You're going to get this stuff, right? So it's a learning curve. If you're not overwhelmed, you're doing it wrong. You have to be overwhelmed.
Yeah. There's no way to get into the stuff without being overwhelmed, which
that's why we said pick something that you are interested in, because
You have a
there's
passion
no way
for it.
you're going to follow everything that's going on in crypto. There's too much going on.
Right. Okay. So I think I might have missed a term in there, but I think we just defined all the big ones and have people just with enough base knowledge to now dive back into the how.
Doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost nothing.
And you would be surprised at how much money we have made from nothing by just participating in those things.
Right.
Like, you could literally, a 12-year-old guy could go and start out hustling anybody and make $100,000 in a year, but just doing that. I'm not saying that that's everybody. It runs with some luck, but definitely hard work pays into it, and you're going to get into those projects.
Yeah. And okay, so then my next question would be, do you guys do you think it's worth going through the actual specifics of, now that you've kind of given the overview of the MetaMask account, the bank account to fund that, actually should we go through how one would build a MetaMask account and then how to fund it and all those things? Or do you think that would be better suited maybe on like the YouTube channel with like visuals and stuff? Do you think that'd be too hard to explain?
Yeah, that's we have videos on everything on how to set that up.
And that's Blockchain Bros on YouTube.
Yeah.
Blockchain Bros, no spaces, just Blockchain Bros as one word.
Okay, and that's where people can go to on that if they want to watch an actual breakdown of going through
because most people are like, well, this is cool, but they don't know what to do with it, right? Like, just like when we were in Calgary and we did this talk, we had, people from 16 to 20 years old, and they're all very intrigued, but they feel very lost, right? And I said, you can literally build a portfolio from nothing. I don't recommend putting money in until you start understanding it somewhat, right?
Right.
I still want you to lose money.
But lose money smart.
Yeah,
in a smart way.
Because you've learned something, right?
Right.
If
you get into early and lose
right
money,
away, you haven't even learned anything, right? So once you start putting money in, make sure you're at a point where you're gonna. If you lose, you've learned something, right?
If you're the person that made money right away, you're probably the person that bought Dogecoin at 75 cents.
Yeah. And it's funny with this market how there's money to be made in like humor, which is something that Elon Musk, it's almost his ethos of like the most entertaining outcome is usually what's going to win out, right? And it's interesting today, it sounds like he's made the final push and he's going to buy Twitter, which is amazing to me in so many different ways. It probably will pull us down
really
a hole.
Excites me. I've been on
me too.
Everything on Twitter today has been about Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Yeah.
I hope he keeps his word. If not, we have to go after Elon.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he said he announced that he was working on the finances for that.
Right. And I mean, I think when you look at and it's always tough with finances of that scale because what publicly things look like is never what it actually looks like. Because from what public facing of, what it looks like he's worth and all this stuff, like, oh, that should be no problem. Even with that valuation, that is crazy much more than what Twitter's worth for him to do that. He has the money for it, right? But then,
well, it's
that's
the same
easier
as
said than
me
done,
saying, like, this is what my portfolio is worth.
Right.
Now I want to go buy something that's a third of my portfolio. Okay, but on paper it looks like it's no big deal, but most of my money might be tied up, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody with that amount of money doesn't just have it sitting in a bank account doing nothing, right?
Exactly.
Or he wouldn't have that amount of money.
Yeah, he's not a dumb guy.
No, he's extremely smart.
That's fascinating.
If I was half as smart as him, I'd be quite tickled.
Yeah, you'd be halfway to Mars right now.
Yeah.
How do I even get there? Oh, the Dogecoin, right? Where I get there, like, there's so many people that made real money just
Pump
on
like stink today. It went up like 25% because
what did, sorry?
a Dogecoin.
Oh, really?
Because he put 100% emoji behind this one guy's tweet who's like, we're probably going to start getting bonuses on Twitter with Dogecoin, and he put the 100% emoji there. So
now it just went crazy.
Yeah, it went up 25%. Or something.
Wow.
And we missed it. It's a good trend. But that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. So once you have these things figured, now you're going to have to start learning the trends.
Right. If Elon Musk tweets about something, it's going to go crazy.
Not always.
That's a trend. Not always.
Try being ahead of Elon on the trends.
Right.
But
right.
like you're going to start seeing cycles, right? Don't go crazy when, like we talked about it right at the beginning, when everybody's buying. That's probably the time you should start selling.
Yeah.
And when everybody's selling and it not when everybody's selling, but when nobody's buying anymore. That's the time where you should actually consider and saying, hey, you know what? It's worth putting some money in, right?
Yeah.
So definitely learn the cycles. You kind of have to understand the cycles a little, and then the trends within the cycles. Like all of a sudden, you're going to see gaming go crazy. Well, if you see gaming go crazy, you see the top 5 games go like absurd. It might be smart, even if your interest is in finance, to go pick a few things in the gaming and say, read their white paper, look what they're doing, and say, hey, these guys might have a chance. I'm going to put a little bit of money, even if it's $200 in it. You're right. You might double it overnight and you have 400 get out. You made money, right?
Yeah. Like, and crypto coins, they do pump for sure. Like if you go buy a coin that has a market cap of like $100 million or $200 million, like, or under that, but like talking gaming coins, there's last year another person that was like $5,000 into $1 million with 5 gaming coins.
Wow.
And it's not that everybody's going to do that. Obviously, there's that person probably has $100,000 left of that $1 million. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. People see these stories, and I could tell my story of what I did.
Yeah.
And people think they'll get into crypto and do that. But what we talked about earlier, that's usually what it takes to go through to get to that point.
Right.
And if you don't have anybody telling you these tips, that what I just told is what I shared is probably worth $5 million.
Yeah.
Like we've lost a shit ton of money to learn those things.
Exactly.
Right? So take it for what it's worth, but it has cost me a lot to even be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And to share that. So
we can't put a number in front of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's that knowledge is priceless too. And I think that's what I really respect about you guys and love about you guys is right from the moment I met you, even though you guys put not only a lot of money, but a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and so much more. I think on the first episode we talked a whole bunch more about the human side behind it, right? Like there's way more than just the money behind it.
Yeah,
and it'd be very easy for you guys to get very stingy with that, and to hold that knowledge in. And at no point, even though you guys had all the right in the world to be jaded about it, you guys wanted to share this with the world. I walked in your office, I knew you guys for 10 minutes, and you guys are just dropping knowledge after knowledge and helping me, and we're excited to help me learn this stuff, and you want to start a YouTube channel where you're helping spread this to the world. Like I just think that's pretty admirable, and I think that's
well once
something to be respected.
I think it's just human instinct, right? Like if you see something that has just changed your life, you want to share that with other people, right? And it has cost us a lot to get there, right? Like so much that we sacrifice, but it's still nothing in comparison to what a lot of people do and what a lot of people will.
Right.
But I just say, if you are intrigued in the space, find that one topic that you really enjoy the most.
Yeah.
And because that's what we did wrong for the longest time. We were all over the map and it cost us dearly. But now that we started dialing into a few main subjects that we enjoy, then that's where we pick and that's where we stay. Anything else, if there's something else that goes crazy, that's cool. Good. Those people have been in the space a long time waiting for that.
Right.
I haven't gotten that anyway. The chances of me finding the next one in that sector is hard. So why don't I just stick to my lane that I enjoy, dig my heels down and find the next one in my sector that's going to do it.
Right.
Because you find yourself so easily chasing pumps in crypto that you end up getting none. It's like this freaking, having this carrot dangling in front of your nose, right? You're just running around trying to chase this stupid thing instead of just staying in your lane with what you're passionate about and just dig in and learn.
Yeah,
you'll get those.
So a guy will put 60 hours of research and 10 grand into gaming, and starting to build that intuition in the gaming sector. He sees something pop off in an NFT. He jumps into that, leaves all that, and then goes through that same process, dumps another 10 grand and 60 hours into this, and then jumps to the next one where you're saying, if you have a true passion for it, you stick with that. You may have to watch some other things blow up, but if you don't get attached to it, which is so hard, human nature is very much attuned for people to do that, right? We're built to chase the big flashy thing, right? But that's just another one of those things that's a bit counterintuitive. I think that's a really great lesson. I don't know if this is personal or not, but I'm curious, what do you got? What kind of lanes excite you guys? Like what are the ones that you guys have found
there's a few lanes that I really, some lanes that I do not just for the money but I enjoy this. I say never do anything just for money. Once you do that, you're gonna lose, and your life's gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
But I'm not a gamer, but I enjoy the gaming space. I don't know why, but there's something about the gaming space.
The community behind it.
The gaming space gets like...
Yeah, how it evolves. It's crazy, right? So I enjoy that, and I enjoy the tokenomics side of it.
Right.
It's because I like the finance side, right?
Right.
So the gaming is huge for me. We have a lot in gaming. The DeFi, like the turning the banks on its head, is kind of intriguing. So
that's decentralized finance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the tradition,
Uniswaps and the all these. There's a lot, right?
Yeah.
So all these main Luna. There's a lot. Like there's
Luna's the best one right now, probably.
Luna's sounds stupidly well. It was like at $3 and it's now 90 or something.
Holy shit!
Topped out at 120 the other day, I think.
Yeah, so that's been really good.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. You wouldn't have gotten that if you were into, but just pick your lane, right? So gaming, DeFi, music videos, or like not music videos, but that's going to happen too. But music industry, if you're a fan of music, pay attention to the music sector.
We buy music all the time.
Yeah, we actually bought 1 or 2 songs just today. Like just so
you bought songs in the space. So like, how does that function through like an NFT space?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's NFT.
Yeah,
but there's also coins. Like there's a few streaming platforms like Audius and Oculus. Are 2 streaming coins that I think we're negative 80 on. I shouldn't even say this on your podcast, but that just goes to show the human nature of it, right? Like we thought we had a good buy, and we didn't cash out. We were in profit, like 150. We were, I think, 200 or 2x on it, like 200% profit. We didn't take profit, and now we're negative 80%. So that's the lesson again. Like take profit when you're in profit. Right. So, yeah.
But there's no way to learn that lesson but to get into it, right?
You're going to have to get burned.
Yeah,
right?
Because we can sit here and preach to you all day. And the thing is, once you're going to be sitting at 200% profit and everything's just going up, maybe you are not going to take profit either. The chances are you won't. Yeah. And you'll have to burn yourself.
And sometimes rightfully you shouldn't. And this is where you learn your gut instinct, right? Where you say, like, just like what we did with OneCoin, we didn't follow any rules. We didn't listen to anybody. Like we had the best people around us say take profit, and we said, you know what, screw you, I'm not taking profits. I'm trusting my gut on this.
Yeah.
And it treated us phenomenal, right? But it takes some time to get that intuition going on that, right?
Right. And especially as you get deep in the space and you have lots of voices in your ear when to trust those and when not to, right? Like that's...
Well, and then you have a lot of influence from the Discords yet. Like if you want to get attached to what people say in Discord yet, you're going to have nightmares. So this is...
yeah, that's one thing.
This is very counterintuitive from what we said, like join the Discords, learn and listen to people in there, but at the same time, ignore everything they say.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have so many voices in your head, you're going to scream at night not knowing which way to turn. You can't do that. You have to learn to follow your own instinct, but pick ideas. I would say never follow advice from people in Discord on when to buy and sell, but learn to follow for ideas only. Like if there's a new
Yeah.
project,
People are
go
excited. What gets people excited and why it gets them excited and
go read up on projects. Yeah.
But, like you can go into Shiba INU for an example, into their Discord or Telegram, whatever they have, and they're going to be like, this thing's going to $1.
Yeah.
There's no way on earth that thing's going to go to $1. Like, and people believe it and buy, and they buy like $200 worth. It's like, oh yeah, if this thing goes to $1, I have like a couple $100 million. It's like, yeah, everybody on earth would have a couple $100 million.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to think that there's 100 trillion coins. That means there has to be $100 trillion in there.
But you'll never be able to just distinguish the wheat from the chaff unless you start getting into those Discord groups and take in all that. Even like you say, if it's 99.9% garbage, to get that 0.1%, you need to take it in and start to build that intuition, like we talked about, and it's probably going to come up a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, but like I say, if you would ignore all the price talk that always happens in Discord, they're toxic for that. Like everybody talks prices. If you ignore that, but only go into Discords where you can start learning about projects, like let's say they start talking about, oh, we're into gaming and this, let's say you're in a gaming Discord, right? And all of a sudden this guy's like, oh, have you been playing this game? This is really cool. I enjoy it. Yeah. Go check it out. Read everything you can on it, right? Yeah. Like that. Like use the Discords for that. Don't use them for price talk. Learn that yourself. Never follow anybody for that.
Right. So I've got two more terms that I'd like you guys to define for people: white papers and tokenomics. And tokenomics, I think, is my favorite word. I think you guys told me that on the last one, and ever since, because tokenomics is the thing that excites me the most about all of this stuff, right? Like mainly in the sense of NFTs, but even before I even knew what an NFT was, before I even had heard that term, I was hearing people in the blockchain space talk about smart contracts. This was probably 2 years before this whole NFT thing blew up, and they were talking about it. And that's what got me so excited and really sold me on the coins themselves. Because like the idea of what you can do with tokenomics and like what that flips the world on its head of all these rigid ways of how things work and just takes it all, and you can do almost anything you want in the world with it.
Yeah.
It excites me. So maybe before we get to tokenomics, maybe white paper, because I think that's important. I don't even know if I actually know what that is, but it's come up a couple times, and just probably, I'm sure there's a bunch of people sitting there in their car listening to this going, what the hell's a white paper? But so maybe we'll start with that, and then we'll talk tokenomics.
So the white paper is basically what they promise to do.
Right. So that's like,
it's not that it has to be true. It's just something they put on paper and it's like, this is what we're going to do.
It's kind of like a mission statement for a project or something.
Usually they explain, like usually a white paper is going to have their vision for the project in it. What the vision is, how they plan on executing that vision, and if they have connections, they're usually going to have the names of the connections in there and all that stuff, right? So, yeah,
and like who's behind, like any big names behind it and stuff. Would that be in there too?
Sponsors and stuff is in there usually. Yeah.
Okay, so that's important. So that's what. So
definitely something you want to read.
Yeah. So if you're going to get
boring
involved,
thing that you need to read and learn to understand.
So would you say if you're going to get involved in a project, you have to read the white paper on it? That's just one of those things that's just like joining the Discord, just like following the Twitter, reading that white paper is another thing you need to do.
Well, how do you want to invest in something and understand what it does without reading what they're doing?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer to understand what they're doing. I mean, it's going to take you a while if you want to go into Ethereum and try to understand everything there, right?
Right.
But I mean, like, let's say you go into these smaller projects and you want to, be one of the first people in it. You definitely want to understand what their white paper is. And the more you learn to understand that, the more the space is going to make sense to you. And the more you're going to see what could be profitable and what could not be profitable.
Right.
So the more you understand the white papers and the tokenomics of things, you're going to have a better understanding of where the next, profit's going to be laying for you.
So then let's jump to tokenomics. I'm just going to Google tokenomics too, just to see what comes up for the online definition of it, because I've never actually looked at it. Oh, there's no nice definitions.
This question is definitely for Ben. He's the guy that does all the tokenomics.
So it says tokenomics is a catch-all for the elements that make a particular cryptocurrency valuable and interesting to investors. That includes everything from a token supply, how it's issued, to things like what utility it has. So then hearing that description, I was off. There's a certain part of tokenomics that got me excited. That whole thing I said about how tokenomics is what got me excited about the whole space. There's a certain piece of tokenomics. So tokenomics is more encompassing than what I thought. So maybe you can take a whack at what it is to you.
So I was going to say basically what you said on Google, what they say. So tokenomics basically means them saying this is how many coins we're going to have. And they always have this in the white paper.
Right.
So you kind of got to understand, or if they don't, then that usually
that's a bad project.
Red flags, right? But usually they're going to say, we have, this is how many coins we're going to have. This is how much money we seed raise. This is how many pre-investors are in it.
Right.
This is how many coins they have. This is for how long they're going to be locked up for them. This is how we're going to be starting to shed the rest of our coins into the market, and all this, all their whole finance system. Basically, it's their finance. It's like going to any traditional company and saying, I want to see your finance book. I want to see what you're doing and how you plan on going from where you are to going to this. How do you use your money? What are you going to do with your money? That's what the tokenomics are on a project.
Yeah, because a big thing a lot of people actually don't look at is maybe like how many coins are locked up to your investors and when are they going to be released, because you want to dump before they do.
Yeah, so that's something that we kind of learned the hard way too. Is let's say you get it's not as bad when you're in projects under over $300 million market cap. But if you're playing with projects at 100 million or below that, so let's say there's a project that I got in as a seed fund investor and I spent 10 grand.
What is a seed fund investor?
Well, that would be an investor that if you come to me and say, hey, I want to build this project, but I need, $100,000 to get this thing started before we even get your coins done.
Right.
Then I would say, here's 100 grand, go do that. You're going to make coins. You're going to say, for doing that, I'm going to give you this amount of coins.
Yeah, I'll give you 50 coins off the start because you gave me that money to.
Yeah. And then you say, but usually it's in the contract that those coins are locked up for maybe a year or two, because that way I can't go dump on new people when the coin comes out. Right.
Right.
So yeah, some people call it seed investing, some people call it angel investors, just different terms, but it's basically the same thing.
What they actually do is, instead of it going to one person, they're going to post it on their website, and maybe from that company, like Seed Fund is one of them. If you have like $20,000 worth of their coin, you are guaranteed to be able to buy a certain amount.
Right. At a certain price.
Yeah, at a cheaper price than what they're going to get to market.
You're usually at least a 5x.
So it's the same as a traditional company would. Like, I've invested in a traditional company where, they say, we're going to, before our stocks become available, we're going to sell them to you for this point. Yeah. We're going to work. This is what our company's worth. So we're going to give them to you for this price, as they go up, Right. So that's the same thing. That's what it is. But what's so exciting about this, it's like anybody with money in their Ethereum wallet, if they find the right connections, can get to the point where they can go invest in these seed fund companies. Right.
Well, you just got to know the right people.
You got to know the right people and find the right sites for
get in the right discords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what's so exciting. In the traditional world, me and you will never know about a company before it hits Wall Street, right?
Right. Because it's just in a different, it's centralized, it's
there's gated. It's an elite group of people that control that, right? This is to a certain extent, people think this is, but it's so open compared to what people...
Compared to it, yeah. You still got to put some work, you still got to build those connections, but
absolutely,
anybody can get in there. They just got to put the time in to build that up and to get to know these people. Whereas you could put all the time in the world, you're never going to get on the next, Wall Street,
exactly.
initial buy, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the tokenomics side of it.
Gotcha.
I mean, definitely learn to understand, like there's things you'll just have to learn yourself, but that's definitely tips that I think are very important to understand.
So then, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm just trying to even get this clear in my own head. So within the white paper, there's tokenomics. And the white paper is kind of what they're promising to you. But the tokenomics would be what is in stone, because the tokenomics is what's going to actually be built into the code of, like, you could promise some things in a white paper, but if it's in the tokenomics, it's going to have to be there because that's what they're building, right? With the actual blockchain itself, it's saying they can't say in the white paper, we're going to have max 1,000 coins, but then within the tokenomics have a different number, right? Like once it's in the tokenomics, that's set in stone, right? Like that's what gives it the power of exactly what it is, because it's hard coded into the math, into the binary.
Yeah, depending how it's built. Yeah.
Okay.
Like you can definitely build projects where there's no limit of coins.
Right, but that would be built into it, and you would see that going in. You're not going to be misled. It's the transparency is what I want to get to, because that's what gets me most excited about it, is the transparency of it, and to say whatever's built into this, into the actual blockchain that they build, that's what it's going to be. There's no like Wall Street, there's so much of that bullshit, right? Where they say it's one thing, but it's not. Whereas this is what we're promising. And this is what, it doesn't mean it's going to succeed or fail. It's on you to make that judgment call of what they're laying out and whether you think it's going to succeed or not. But it's not going to be, you're not going to get that wrong because it wasn't what was promised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And tokenomics take a whole another step from a coin. Instead of like, if you take that tokenomics into an NFT, like there's so much more you can add to an NFT.
Right. And that's what was so funny to me was I got so excited over what excites me about NFTs now, but I heard it from this different term of smart contracts, right? This guy, I should have looked this up before we came on, but this guy one time came on Lex Friedman's podcast. He was one of my favorites, and he's had a bunch of crypto guys on, and he's who really got me excited about this. But he was talking about all these different coins and stuff and the blockchain technology. He was saying, no, I think it might have even been Vitalik Buterin, or is that the guy with Ethereum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been him. His first time he came on, he was talking about everyone's so excited about Bitcoin and all this stuff and how it's going to change the world, but you haven't even seen, smart contracts. And he started talking about, you can promise certain things. You can put things in stone that there's no going back on. It is what it is, right? And then that kind of took form in these NFTs where you say, we're going to promise access to concerts, access to all these things, access to merchandise, to private discords, right? Like all those things that you can now create anything you want.
Let's say I'm a singer and I say I've put it in the code of an NFT that if you have this NFT, it's like having a ticket to my concert. If that all of a sudden doesn't work, well, it is legally in the blockchain. I can go take you to court now, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. And not only that, but even before that step is now you are putting your because those are your biggest fans that are buying, like you're putting your name at risk. You're backing yourself, right? Like
those are your VIPs.
Exactly. Like Sugar Sean, of all the the tokenomics that he put around his NFT of the certain things, right? Like there's certain, and I would have access to all these things if I would fucking get in the Discord like an idiot I am, but I'm getting access to game with him, to get to get entered into raffles for his fight kits after he fights, for custom merch, right? And now the people that bought those are guys like me, for the most part. I'm sure there's some guys in there that are just trying to make a buck, but for the most part, I would imagine it's guys that are big fans of him.
Yeah.
If he now doesn't come forward with those, but it's in his best interest to, because now now he makes money on it growing in value. He makes money because every time if I was to sell my Sugar Sean NFT to you, Ben, Sugar Sean would get a small piece of that forever in every trade of goods. So now the more money it makes and the more value he adds, it's in his best interest to not only hold to what was promised, but to keep adding to it and to keep growing those, because now he's at a benefit, right? And
Absolutely.
That is what blows my mind, because now all these things, if you wanted to say this was 8 years ago, before any of this was even, it was probably a thought in a couple really smart guys' minds around the world, but guys like us, we had no idea this was even around the corner. If you wanted to do something like that, you would need giant production companies. You would need all that stuff. You would need it would to even do the infrastructure that it would cost you millions and millions of dollars. But with this blockchain technology, it puts it at your fingertips. You still need some smart people to write some code and stuff, but the decentralization of that power and the power it puts in the hands of people is absolutely mind blowing to me. And that's where I see the value of it. And that's why.
See, and I see the value at one level deeper even than that, which
Hit me.
is, well, I don't know if I can explain it too well, but,
okay.
but you know how you say this is what they promise. That is still all kind of flexible, right? It yes, it's written in the blockchain, this is what we're going to do, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen, right?
Right.
I mean, there's still things that that guy might not be playing game.
Yeah, he can get hooked on pills and go down now he's not.
But
doing
like
shit.
you said, it's in their best interest, which is phenomenal.
Sure.
I love that.
Right.
But when you get to the next level where you're building a project, and you say, when you start doing the tokenomics of like for an example, I'll bring up Superfarm again.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Yeah, you're right. I see where you're going.
So let's now say you're building this ecosystem, because I think Elio Trades, which is the co-founder of Superfarm, is probably the smartest guy in crypto building.
Yeah.
And also an influencer, which is just bonkers, right? So that, I think, with what he's doing in his system, with the tokenomics that he's putting in, like there's so much in code. So for an example, like his NFT, we own some of his NFTs, and in it, he's got it coded that, when the project goes live, from the profits that it makes, those NFTs get a % of the revenue.
Right.
And that's all coded. So that just automatically happens. So as long as the project does what it does, this is going to do what it's going to do. He can't go back, change it, right?
Yeah.
So
he can't say, I wish I would have, not given so much of the pie away in that. Like, look at how much money he's making. I wish instead of saying you're going to get a 5% kickback, I wish I would have done 2%. Doesn't matter. It's already encoded. You bought what you bought at that point.
Yeah, you bought what you bought, and that's what you got, right?
Right.
And the other thing that I find interesting is he has like 3 layers to his. And I don't want to go too deep into this. I don't want to, you got to basically see it to not be quite overwhelmed on it.
Yeah.
But so he's got Superfarm that runs as the DAO for his game, which his game is Imposters, is coming out, and keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
We went very excited on that
we
one.
bought a lot of those.
We got a little trigger happy. but
they were cheaper than we thought, so we just bought, and we bought more, and we bought more until the price went up.
There you go.
So Superfarm is the DAO, which means that anybody that holds it is part of the decentralized ecosystem of the game.
Right.
So let's say Imposters that's his game. It would be like Fortnite, right?
Right.
But Superfarm is the governance token over Fortnite, if you will, right? Everybody knows what Fortnite is, right?
It's like their V-Bucks, right? Within Fortnite.
Yeah. But if you have this, you have the voting rights to what happens in the game.
Governance. I was thinking like monetary.
No,
I see what you're saying. Governance.
Yeah, you are.
No, their V-Bucks, they have like a blood token.
Gotcha. So I had that wrong.
So their blood token. So this is where it gets interesting. So he has the Superfarm token, right?
Right.
Which is the DAO over Imposters, his game.
Right, which gets you a seat for like voting rights and all that.
Gets you a seat at the table.
Right.
And if you had the Super, and he came out with NFTs for that. So he has the Elio Trades and Superfarm NFTs. And if you have those NFTs, you get another seat at the table. It basically works as a coin, right?
Right.
And then the like you said, what's the coin for
Fortnite?
Yeah.
V-Bucks, I think.
Okay.
It might have changed. That was years ago when I used to play.
So let's say it's like V-Bucks, right?
Sure.
But these coins are actually something that you can sell for real money, which they're called blood.
Yeah.
So the in-game currency is blood.
And that's an uncapped coin.
That which is uncapped, right? Like that's just like any other game. It's just,
you
gets
can buy as many as you want. Yeah, you can spend it on shit.
But on anything that gets traded within the game, like the game NFTs, 5% of that revenue goes to a treasury. The people that own Superfarm and the NFTs,
right,
they have the voting power. They have the seat at the table to say what to do with this money. Do we want to spread it throughout the investors? So let's say you own one of the top NFTs, you get 10% of the money, you get this,
Right.
So it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's what gets me excited about decentralized.
And that's a much better example of what I was bringing up. The only reason I use the Sugar Shaw one because that's the one that I have. But that's like third string example of it, whereas what you're talking about is that real maximalization of that idea that gets me excited. It's all
exactly.
hard-coded.
And this again, this doesn't matter if you live in Africa, Afghanistan, Iraq. It don't matter where you live.
Yeah.
If you own this, you can be 10 years old. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You get that seat at the table, right?
Yeah, and like NFTs, they trade pretty good usually. Like
Yeah.
like same as Imposters, he charges 5%. and he's traded. I think I saw today 18,000 Ethereum in the last 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Oof.
He gets 5% of that, or he doesn't even take it. We do.
Yeah.
And that's like 2.7 mil American right now.
Wow.
So now imagine if you're in this treasury, if you're in the DAO, like what does that become value? What kind of value do you attach to that, right? So it's a crazy world. It's a fun world.
Yeah.
And
that's one example of what one smart guy did with this technology.
And I didn't even go into detail of it. It's
I know, because you guys sat me down in the office for I think 4 hours and walked me through all this. When we're in front of the computer, you could show me the different NFTs and the levels and stuff, and it fried my brain. It was crazy to see, but I have I see what there's so much more to it. But even like the explanation you get, I think that's going to get people excited about the idea of it. But it's so much more complex even than that, and there's so many more ways that you're making money. And then there's kickbacks, and if you are a certain holder of things, that gives you access for either first purchase on the next thing, or if you are holding it at a certain date, you get a free NFT on.
So let me tell you what we did. Like this is again for the audience to kind of understand how, like, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, what's possible, right? So we bought Super Farm.
Yeah.
And since we don't have it in a centralized account, we own it, right?
Right.
So since we own it and it gets traded from everybody hands to hand, there's no bank. Who has the liquidity for this trading hands? Someone has to do that, right? So they pay you for doing it.
Right. Oh yeah.
So that's which is called, they call this farming, or
LP tokens.
LP tokens, right? So what you do is we took Super. Let's say you have $10,000 in Super, then you would have to match the same amount of Ethereum for what it is at the time.
Right.
You lock these two together. Sometimes you can sign a contract. Sometimes you say you're going to have them locked for X amount of time, or sometimes it's open. You can take it out whenever you want, whatever, right? So for doing that, at the beginning when we did that, it was an 80 or 90% APY. Which would mean that within a year, or just over 1 year, we would have doubled our coins, which meant in 1 year, they would pay us the same amount of money as what we had in there in the first place.
Right.
Where can you do that with your money?
Right. So what you guys gave up is you took your Ethereum, locked that against it for a set amount of time for a year. And
we didn't do.
We didn't lock it.
No, this was open. Like, we didn't have to lock it for a year.
Oh.
But this was open. We can take it out whenever we want, right? But for doing that, you get paid interest, right?
Right.
And this kind of fluctuates, right?
Yeah.
But right now, I think it's sitting at 35, 38, 39%, somewhere in there.
Because more people have bought.
There's more money in the pool, right?
Right. So when you got in earlier, it was more of a return. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So for doing that, we got and we're still in it. We've been in it for almost a year.
Yeah.
And we've done very well. And there's a risk to it. And the risk is...
The risk is big.
The risk is huge. And that's why you get paid money for it, right? Because if you want to be a bank, you're holding two assets, but you're in the mercy of the buyers and sellers, right?
Right.
So if I have Ethereum and Super in there, if the market dumps, that means they are buying my Ethereum from me. So they're buying my better solid investment now, and they're giving me the thing that's dumping.
Right.
So that's
you might be left holding a bag of nothing.
Right.
And all your Ethereum is gone, right?
Gotcha.
On the other hand, if Super goes crazy, let's say Super goes and does 100% in a day, that means they're going to have bought all your Super, and you're going to have Ethereum and haven't made any money on the pump up.
Right.
Right? Because they're taking your Super, they're buying them on the way up, and you're selling them to them, right?
Right.
So that's the risk you're playing. So it's something that you want to monitor, and this is not something I would recommend people get into.
Yeah,
right
that's about waist or nipple high.
I just want to share this because I never knew this kind of stuff exists. Most people don't.
No, I didn't tell you guys showed me.
Is crazy that you can make, right? So we did that, and on top of making the 40% APY that we're doing, he handed out what he called, which were just gems. They were nothing.
Nothing.
Right. It's like an empty promise, right? But within that, he had a store that it kind of worked as bonus points, if you will.
Right.
That for every dollar you had in, you got X amount of gems per day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had enough gems, he had a store where you could go buy these NFTs.
Right.
We bought us quite a few of them.
Yeah, we bought it.
That's the piece that I remember you guys telling me.
And those are, they turned to I think at the top they were at 10 ETH.
Wow.
We got
and you
them,
guys bought those with these gems that you were getting for free just by holding.
Yeah, just for doing this farm. And that was on top of the 40 and 80% of APY we made, right?
Wow.
And now those NFTs got us a whitelist to his imposters NFTs for his game.
Right.
That we got way cheaper than the rest of the market.
And whitelist, again, I know what these things are, you've explained, but just for people listening, what is whitelist?
Whitelist just means that you're guaranteed to buy
at the very start. You get access to get in before the market.
Whitelist will usually be at cheaper prices,
and usually cheaper too, right? So now we got a guaranteed access to this because a lot of these good projects, when they come into the market, they're sold out in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
like he had 6,000 NFTs that were sold to the public. They were gone within a minute.
And now if you want in, you have to
3 seconds.
You have to buy it privately, plus with the gas fees too. When it's
and on a secondary market at a way more expensive price, right?
Plus
whatever people are willing to sell them for.
Exactly.
The public mint, on a project like that, you're not going to get it unless you have a bot set up.
Yeah. So what people do is, this is way more advanced. Is they go look at the smart contracts. They go look at all this. They go make a bot that the minute this opens up, that bot just goes and buys it, right? So for you to sit at the website and try to hit the confirm button,
you're never going to get there.
You're already too late, right? So the whitelist allows you, they usually is like 24 hours before, but they allow you to do that, right? So if I were to calculate the amount of money we made just by doing that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't even done the math on it yet.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me excited about these decentralized projects and what you can build, right? And literally, Nick, I'm telling you, people that are interested in this space can do this for free. All you do is, like I said, get in those Discords. The next project like that is waiting. There's people that got in here for free right when it started.
Yeah.
Look at where they're sitting now. Just by doing that. So if you put in the work and you're willing to do that in the space that you enjoy, you will. We're still so early. There's a lot of opportunities like that left, right? It's just go find them.
So now I'm guessing that when you see something like that, like Super Farm, where it has a bunch of really cool ideas and different ways of like bringing value, do you see a lot of copycats, like with Super Farm kind of taking off and getting more popular? Do you see lots of guys taking the ideas from that of kind of with different names, right? It's not going to be called gems. It's not going to be called this and that, but like of that. And then you can kind of build off that.
Well, there's going to be trends of it.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen too many yet because this is still kind of very low radar.
Right.
It's
you still think Super Farm is still pretty...
People still like to buy the crap that doesn't do anything.
This is so advanced that most people don't care about it. Like, it's more of a long term. This is not instant gratification.
Right.
This is like the game isn't launched yet, right? Like, so we bought the characters for the game. Game isn't launched yet.
Right.
But once it does, who knows, right? So it depends on the game, right?
And in terms of the game itself, and like timelines on it, like how much transparency and awareness is of like where the game is in development and kind of that part, like as holders, do you guys get more access to that as well?
I don't know if more. It depends on what group you would get into.
Gotcha.
Like we got super lucky, blessed. I don't know what you'd want to call it, but since we were heavy in Super Farm and these things. We were in his Discord for Super Farm, right? And that's where a lot of giants were hanging out, kind of low key, right? But I was active in that Discord every day, just chatting with the people and just being in it, letting myself be known. And then one of these guys comes up with an idea and says, "Hey, I'm going to make my own Discord group for invite only, and the people that have X amount of this or are going to be heavy in this game." We're going to have a special Discord group where we just hang out and come up with ideas, and we want to make a DAO around it and want to basically build a company off of it, right? So I got invited into that, and there's some massive people in it, right? And there's some more value. There's some information in there that probably isn't in general, but no, you get the same. But transparency is very important. Like if a project doesn't, if it's called a decentralized project, but they're not sharing anything, it becomes a problem.
Right.
So be cautious of that when you go into those things.
So now, when they're saying that they're building a video game around all these NFTs and these systems and these currencies, where would that video game live? Like, is that something that's going to be like available? Like, is that going to be like a Xbox release? Is that going to be within like a blockchain world? Like,
if once that comes to an Xbox, buddy, I'm telling you, I'll probably poop my pants because I was in sort of. I think there's chances of it. We're still too early for that.
Right. Okay.
Right now, it's a web game.
PC.
It's like a
PC. Gotcha.
It's like a PC. They want to come up like they're working also with mobile, but it's going to start off as PC.
Gotcha. Okay. Where I was curious, I was wondering if it was just gonna be like, even not like Xbox and stuff. I was just kind of trying to make the point of like, yeah, it's probably gonna live on PC, but I'm wondering if it's gonna be just like any other PC game that you download, or is it gonna be something that lives somehow where like the game is built on blockchain, like that.
So
I don't
the
even know if that's
tokenomics,
possible.
the tokenomics are built in the blockchain
For sure.
So, but you're gonna play it on the web just like any other thing.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
these characters,
All you have to do is connect your MetaMask account to the game.
Right.
yeah, and then you have like if you hold an NFT, you connect your MetaMask to the game, which is your wallet,
Right.
And it's gonna say, oh yes, you have one of these. This is what you can do. This is how much money you're gonna, you can make money with playing the game if you have that. So it's a cool world.
Yeah. I don't know. A buddy of mine just sent me this video the other day. It's kind of a digital horse running and something, and I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And he's like, I texted like, what are you, online gambling or what? And he's like, no, it's an NFT. I just invested in this horse, and I'm training up its stats and stuff, and I'm gonna run it in these races. I'm like, oh my god! Like just when you think you have your head wrapped around kind of the different ways this is gonna come to fruition, you see something that's totally out of left field that you never would have, even guessed, right? And he must have sent it to me because he knows, I've talked to you guys.
Well, that was D-Racing that he sent you.
Could have been.
Horse race. Yeah, D-Race. It's got to be D-Race. That is the beginning. That's like the bare minimum of a game that's starting to. If Imposters takes off, which I think it has a high chance of doing, it's 1,000 times what D-Race is.
Right.
Like graphics on the game and everything.
Like just in general, like, we're still in this stage where, just like for an example, CryptoPunks or, Bored Ape Yacht Club, they got started just as a pure fun thing of trying something, right? Yeah. And people see, hey, there's some value in it. So it builds off into all these other things that are happening, right?
Right.
And that's the same thing. So then people start building games on it, and they're like, hey, we could actually do this. So then, everybody does that, right? And then the next thing comes along, and it's like they go outdo that, and it gets built better, right? So that's what I mean. Like if you're in it from the beginning and you just follow the space, you're going to catch these things that are being built upon it.
Right. And you'll have a good intuition when they do start to come.
Like, because first Axie came out, and then that did very well. And then a lot of shit games came out, you could say. And now Imposters is coming out, and that's kind of a game that he's been building it for the past 3-4 years.
Right.
So he started building that thing a long time before anybody thought of building a crypto game.
And that's something I actually was going to bring up earlier. That was something I noticed with specifically. I mean, I'm sure this applies to a lot of different projects, but it was the Full Send guys and Nelk Boys that won that NFT that I bought, and they were saying like, we've been thinking about this for a long time, but we didn't want to jump right into it. We see so many guys just throwing slapping something cheap together, which there's, millions of those projects out there that everyone just wants to slap their name. Everyone wanted to get a piece of the pie. Yeah. They said, no, let's sit back. Let's look at let's build something that we know is going to have value. And now, they're talking about they're just partnered with the guy that runs Anytime Fitness, and they're going to start building Full Send gyms all across America, and if you have a Metacard, you get free access to any of the gyms anywhere, right? They're starting to put on concerts, and they're just adding and adding to it, and they have all these huge ideas, but that took them a little bit of time to sit. Let's not jump to the first thing. Let's build something that we can create for a long time, and I think now we're starting to see it, and we're just going to see more and more of that, is people that,
that actually do something, right? But because right now, like in the gaming world, there's so many that sell an NFT and promise a game, which is just brutal. 99.99% of them are going to go to zero.
There will never be a game made.
There will never. They will, but they're selling for $300-400 million. Like the whole, like they're worth $300 million. Yeah, and it's like so many people are going to get burnt on that, right? Like. I will get burnt on a lot. I know we have a lot of dead zoo animals in our NFT.
Yeah,
you know,
like that's why we don't buy something like Moonbirds or something like that. Like, oh wow, you get a free shirt right away of your NFT or something crap.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I can buy a shirt under $100,000.
Yeah, for sure.
But you never know. Like some of them just take off, right?
Yeah,
but this is where I
might
just
be the next CryptoPunk. I don't know.
This is where I just trust my gut, and I, sometimes I leave some, and it is what it is, right?
And I think there's always going to be those ones that the CryptoPunks or whatever it is that there isn't any inherent value. The value becomes from the inflation and the hype around it and who gets involved. But there is never going to be, not never, I shouldn't say never, but the odds of you stumbling into something like that is so astronomical that if you aim for value, you're going to be much better off. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're just buying cheap shit in the hopes that some, Gary Vaynerchuk starts calling his buddies around it. Like, I can't remember if it was Bored Apes or CryptoPunks, but I think, there's where he called Logan Paul and he called all these people and said, buy one. And he created all these people that bought one.
I think that's the biggest reason why they are where they are.
For sure they are. That's exactly.
I'm not not pissed on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, it's great for the NFT community. Sure. It's great for us. But there was no way of me and you knowing
exactly.
Like I still sometimes we beat ourselves up a little sometimes because we looked at CryptoPunks when they were 1 ETH.
Yeah.
And I said, why would I ever buy this? There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
It's just a ton of nonsense people in Discord.
Yeah.
Talking shit. And I don't see a value of me paying 1 ETH to be in that, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't know Gary Vee and all these guys were going to jump on board and make it into a brand, right?
Exactly.
So you don't really know a lot of those things. And that's why I say I rather go with something like, something that I see has a potential of being built and has a future. Yeah. Go with that. And I think what you're going to start seeing now, where there's going to be a lot of red flags, but if you're going to use some good judgment and don't just FOMO in, you're seeing a lot of traditional companies get into NFTs.
Yeah.
Where they're going to say they're going to provide value and do this and
like
this
those
and this.
UFC ones that are fucking useless.
Yeah, they
brutal.
do nothing.
They do nothing.
Yeah.
They're 100% hype and and not only are they brutal and they don't bring value, but the people that are going to be the ones that should get behind it and really drive it forward are hating it because a guy like me that is so, and I got excited when I heard UFC's doing an NFT. My ears perk up and then I look at it. None of the money goes to the fighters. It's so looked down upon within the hardcore community of people that loves the sport and love these fighters. They despise it. It's not only not value, it's the people that you need to be behind it and pushing for it are 150% against it. It's so mind blowing to me. And the thing is, it'll still probably do pretty good because there's gonna be so many dummies out there that just go, "Oh, it's NFTs and it's UFC."
Well, this is what I mean. I think we're gonna see. I don't think we've seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I just in my gut, I think we're gonna see this where every company, it don't matter what they're gonna do, they're gonna have an NFT. 99% of them are gonna be garbage. But there's gonna be some that are gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say too much. I'm actually working with a company right now to go, we got it almost done.
Yeah. For an can't say too much. I'm flying to Vegas here in 2 weeks, and we're going to release it there.
Oh, cool!
I think we can talk.
We're going to release some info in there anyway.
Yeah. So we're building an NFT for a traditional company.
Yeah.
But I saw it's a company that
you guys have been working on this for a while. I think.
Yeah.
I didn't get told anything, but it just
so it's a company that I'm invested in before already, right?
Yeah.
As a investor, not a lot of money, but just a little bit to just get my feet wet in it, right? And we started talking with the founders of it, and I said, "You have a great company, you have a great thing, but you're missing the most important thing, right?" So we've been going back and forth for like the last half a year, coming up with ideas and trying to make this thing
building all the tokenomics for it.
Yeah, the most valuable for it. And I think we've come up with some very good. I'm really excited on it.
Yeah.
And as long as the company, like, it's not something that I have any say over, right? I'm just basically giving them ideas on
advising, kind of.
Yeah, just advising on what I see could be valuable for them. So if they take it, they do, and if they don't, they don't, right? But yeah, so it's
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting to be in that and building that. So there's some heavy names in it. It's stupid.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
It sounds like, well, if in a couple of weeks you're an asset, we'll just have to sit down in a couple of weeks from now, and we can, once we're allowed to talk about it, we can get into the nitty gritty of it.
Well, let's just say Joe's going to Mike Tyson's private house for
Holy
an after
shit.
party.
Oh, I love Mike Tyson. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I'm invited to Mike Tyson's house in Vegas for an after party. So.
Holy shit, that is fucking cool.
That should be cool.
Do you get a +1 or anything?
Mike probably won't even be around.
Yeah.
No, the party's there, yeah. So
look at that dog behind you guys. She just wants all the attention. Yeah. Oh, she's cute. Looks like a little shaved rat right now, but man, I love her.
What breed is it?
Miniature Bernedoodle. So Bernese Mountain Dog and a poodle, but miniature. Oh, honey. Come here. Come lay down. Come. Why did you see treats? What's this? What's this? You want this? Come here. Come lay down. I dropped it. Oh, and she's on the run. I can't wait to hear more. It's on your bed. Go get it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there is companies that can thrive in that, but most of them don't know most of them don't have anybody that has in crypto.
Exactly.
Like, so you got to bridge these two worlds together. Are we going to have it absolutely perfect? Probably not. You can never get it perfect. Yeah. But we've tried really hard, and I don't settle just for anything. Like, I'm really picky on it, right? So hopefully we can bring some good value to the company, and not just the company, but the people that invest in the NFT. Because
you have to.
The investors in the NFT, from the last update I've heard, from what we got through, there's going to be huge value there.
But I think that's a really important point too. Is that's what's so non-traditional about this, because all the time, traditional markets for whatever is. Everyone's trying to get as much as possible, right? The company is trying to get as much piece of that pie as they can for what people will pay for. And the people that are paying are trying to get as much for as little as what they can pay for. But with blockchain, where it brings everything out into the open and it's fully transparent, it's got to be equal. The seller and the buyer both have to feel like they are it's worth it to them, and there's value to be made, right?
Yeah.
The money that's coming in and the value that's being bought, and that changes the game so much. It's capitalism without all the pitfalls of what the furthest extents of what you push capitalism, which is all the worst things in the world, the poverty and all the people, modern day slavery that comes with it, right?
It's really exciting to me because I think anybody that, like, if it's in the space that you enjoy, and if you can get your hands on a project like what we're building, if the companies do what they say they're going to do, and this is a fairly decent company, like it's just not a very old company, but they've made some big waves in the space already. Yeah. And if they can attach to this kind of stuff and really grow, 5 years down the road, you're going to die to get your hands on this, right? And so it's very exciting. It's not going to be crazy expensive to get in, and a lot of fun stuff planned.
Oh, I might have to have my third NFT.
Yeah, you're going to want this one for all your buddies and everybody.
Yeah. Well, hey, we can advertise it on the podcast here and get everyone all excited about it. That's awesome. It's really cool. I mean, I have so many questions, but we'll probably save those for in a couple weeks from now when we can talk about it fully. There's probably no sense in going down the route of things we can't talk about. Yeah. But another question I have, maybe I have a million questions. Let's be real here. But before I get too far down, I just wanted to, I know an important piece of this was kind of that thing we started with of how guys get started in this. Do you think we did a good enough job with kind of breaking down that? Is there anything else? And once again, I know we mentioned it, but go to you guys' YouTube channel, Blockchain Bros, and watch the videos if you want to see how to set up a MetaMask account, all those things, are the actual intricacies with videos, so you can kind of get walked through it step by step. Do you think there's any big pieces of that we missed? I think it's good to kind of move past it.
We do have the MetaMask account. We do have the ShakePay. The only thing we don't have is like a crypto.com. And it is very, very simple. And and the thing is, if I want to make a video on that, I have to have my screen blurred at all the time anyway, because I'm putting my info in it.
Right.
So
right.
so it is very simple. There's nothing to it. It's so, it breaks it down so easily for you that they're like, okay, now do this, now do this. But it's all just verification. So it's not something I can really make a video about.
Gotcha.
That's the problem.
No, and I think we covered it quite all right. I mean, there's obviously things that, that
there's always more to it.
Yeah, there's always more to it. But I think anybody, and especially if, like, I think the gaming industry is so hot right now, or it will be. It's not right now. It just
fits so nicely with the technology.
Yeah,
it's made for it.
I think gaming is what's going to bridge the gap between those two worlds.
Yeah.
And we're going to have people playing games in an NFT crypto world without knowing they're in crypto.
Yeah.
And we're going to have people...
Just because the game's so good, they're just enjoying it.
Well, and not just that, the technology they're going to love, right? Like imposters, like I talked about earlier. If you can go play a game and make money while you're playing, but you don't have this... there's no, you don't have to, there's not a lot of stuff that you need to do to get involved in it, right? It's not like you have to be a crypto geek to get in.
Right. And it's not that you have to own an NFT to play the game.
No, anybody can. So like the amount of stuff that's going to bridge the gap on that, I think is going to be phenomenal. And that's why I have a very heavy eye on the gaming world. Because you can go build in it, right? Because if you're a gamer and you enjoy a game that is an NFT, you can go build within that game and go sell that as NFTs,
right?
And make money. And you don't have to have any money to get to that point, right? So learn the skills of understanding that, get involved, do something fun with it, and before you know it, you've made $1,000, $2,000 from something, right?
Yeah.
Now go use that $1,000, $2,000 and leave some. And one thing that I didn't cover that I think, well, I don't know if it depends, right? But we have a rule of when we take profits, 25% always goes into Tether, like just a US stable coin.
Right, yeah, you guys explained. I think we talked about that on the last podcast.
I think it was explained the last time.
Yeah.
And the other stuff, we take 25%, put it in Ethereum, and the rest we use to reinvest in risky stuff, right? So
and that's even more risky than a lot of people do. A lot of people are just going to leave 25% in altcoins.
Yeah,
but we're a little bit of...
we go risky, right? But that's just ours, right? But we always take and put money into Tether. It's just very important because then you have a crash like we're having now, and you have money that you can spend when everything is down, right?
Right.
So yeah,
gotcha. Okay. So since we've got that covered good, so then a couple of the other questions I had is one of the things that was I think we, again, covered this on the last podcast, but I kind of want to do an update and ask some questions about it, was one of the things that I think bridges the gap between the older people that maybe this is a very, very new thing to them is things like Sandbox, where you have this idea of buying physical space in this new metaverse, right? And like buying land. How is that doing? Has that changed anything? And like, I know you guys had said like that was something that you guys were investing in, and you're bringing guys in on. Like, how is that doing so far? And I don't know where else I was going with that question. I had more to ask about it, but maybe we'll just start the conversation. I think the rest of the questions will come.
Yeah, well,
Sandbox has been taking the correction as well. Same with everything else.
Yeah.
It's not at the top anymore, and it shouldn't be because there's better things.
Right. What would you say is better? Like better in that specific space, or just better projects that aren't tied to that?
Maybe not even that. Idea? It's basically just everything is just taking a breath right now, right? And you got to keep in mind, Sandbox isn't even playable by public yet, right? So,
can you explain that? Sorry.
So Sandbox isn't even playable by the general public yet. They're still in beta. Like it's not even out yet for anybody to go in and just play it, right? So
you can't go in and do things like you can buy your plot, but you can't do anything in that plot, right? Like Snoop Dogg owns a plot of land there, but he can't hold a concert there.
Snoop Dogg is partnered with Sandbox.
Right. Sorry, bad example. I'm trying to remember someone else that was in there.
But yeah, Like we have land in the sandbox, and I actually don't think we can build on it. I've tried, and it's too complicated for me anyway at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can. Like I can build a game in there. I can do that, but it's not going to my land, and that's why I said better. It's not necessarily that there's better projects, but there's projects that you can play already, right?
Right. Gotcha.
Yes, sandboxes. I think one of them is going to be, you know how everything, just like when social media came out, you don't know which one's really going to hit. If you were an investor in it, which one would you invest in?
Right.
Right.
MySpace, Nexopia, right? Like,
yeah,
and then Facebook comes around and cleans all their clocks, and you never even saw it coming.
Yeah. So you don't really know. Right now, it's basically throwing darts. You don't really know which one it is. Just like I said with Super Farm and imposters and all this stuff, super risky. Right. You got no idea if it's going to hit or not. Right. So we're going to get to a point where one of them hits and takes off, and once something takes off, just like Twitter, nobody goes and use a different platform. We're just going to stick with Twitter. Right. No matter how bad it gets, we're going to use Twitter, right? Yeah. So I think the same thing is going to happen in the decentralized world. Yeah. We just don't know which one it is yet, right?
Yeah, and there's different ones. Like Sandbox is kind of like the Minecraft, and then there's like more futuristic ones and that kind of stuff.
They're going to fill different niches, right? Like
exactly. Yeah, it's.
I think in the end, they're all going to be combined together, like not together, but like with portals where you can go from one to the next one. That's not that is going to happen.
That's your intuition on it, of where it's going to go. And that makes sense, right? Just like, so funny to me to watch. Everyone got so sick of being just bent over a barrel by all these cable companies, and you had to buy this and buy that. And then they just left the door wide open for Netflix to come in and clean their clock. And then they get greedy, and then everybody starts to make then you got HBO Max, you got Peacock, you got Hulu, you got Disney Plus, you got all these things. And then it all comes around, and then you're going to get this bundle where you get them all together for one price, and we're back to cable.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes through those cycles of that.
It does. Right? We're going to go through, and that's what I mean. You got to start understanding the cycles and the trends that happen within it, and just try to stay on top. It's something that it's a vicious cycle, right?
But when you understand
the basic concept of life, of how the world works in general,
then you
can apply that the same thing in crypto. Yeah. It's just, it moves a lot faster and a lot more unpredictable.
Yeah. And that's so funny because this week, Netflix had to do their shareholder announcement or whatever, and they had to talk about the loss of subscribers, and their share price went down like 30-40% or something crazy. Lost all this money. And everyone is just shocked about it. But the people I listen to, a couple of the podcasts, they've been talking about this for 3 years, that this is so going to just wait for it. It's about to happen, right? All these things I talked about. And it's like, oh, well, that doesn't surprise me because I'm listening to the right people that had the right intuitions. And that's same with the crypto world. There's going to be people
the right
that
understanding of it, right? So, it all comes down to that. And I don't think we have seen the Google yet. I don't think we have seen the Facebook yet. I don't think we've seen any of those yet. And who knows which one it's going to be.
Exactly.
Hopefully it's just one that I have at least a little bit of. So.
Hopefully it's Super Farm.
Yeah. I hope so.
If it's Super Farm, then yeah.
You'll be buying Mike Tyson's house.
I'll buy you a jet to go there maybe.
All right. So, hey, you guys heard it here. I'm going to hold him to that.
We didn't say how far it had to go.
All right. That's fair. So then, what else kind of on the horizon? Is there anything that kind of, whether it's actual projects itself or ideas and types of projects that you've seen, like what's exciting you guys lately? And I know it's kind of a tough time with the market where it's more of a breath time, but is there anything that you guys have been coming up, like maybe since we talked last, that's really exciting you guys that you think is going to come in the future that you would...
No, other than ZK rollups, which I mentioned last time.
Right, yeah. And I remember we talked a ton about that both on and off the podcast, and I almost had my head wrapped around. I still don't think I fully understood it.
That's the only thing, and it moves slow, right? Because it's
that's the thing that's going to get rid of gas fees.
It's going to do a lot of things.
Okay, right.
So other than that, then again, there's like 30 different projects within the space building. You don't know which one's going to hit, which is going to be the Bitcoin one.
Right.
You don't really know.
Right.
You can study the tokenomics and the white papers and understand best you can and try to hit on those that you have the best
best grasp on,
the best grasp on, and you think are going to do the best, but other than that, you leave it to chance, right?
Yeah, and there's some of them that don't even have a coin. You can't even invest in it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there comes one out of the dark of the night and just takes everything by storm, and you thought you were up to date in the space, and you don't even see it coming, and it just sweeps everything, right? So it's a vicious space, man.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know. Other than that, no. I mean, I still think gaming, but everything since we last talked, I don't think we have found any like really solid project that we're just like, yeah, we're gonna
sell the farm for or anything. Gotcha. Interesting. Was there anything else in the whole space? I mean, I have a question that I don't even know if it makes sense. So this might be a very stupid question, but would you say, is there more value in coins or NFTs at the moment? Or is that a dumb question?
That's a very interesting question. And depends on what you're doing, right? It would be the same as saying, is a pickup truck worth more than a car?
Right. Because they're doing different things, right?
And it would depend on what you plan on doing, right?
Right.
So
because
lately you would have made more money with NFTs.
NFTs have been more money,
Gotcha.
Absolutely, than coins lately. They have way outperformed coins.
What do you think is the engine behind that performance?
Just hype.
Just hype, because it's the new thing, right?
Yeah.
Coins have been around for a couple of years now. Everyone's hearing about NFTs. Do you think it's purely that?
Yeah.
And everything. Here's the other thing. It's a cycle. Every time Bitcoin drops, then the altcoins drop.
Right.
And every time the coins drop, the NFTs pump. That's just the way it is.
The cycle is that's the cycle.
Because when the coin goes down, that's what you're buying the NFTs with.
People got bored in the coins, right? So the coins.
Once we saw like Bitcoin go beneath its trend line that it had, and we were like, okay, now we're going to go test lower. We started buying NFTs because we knew people were going to get bored.
Mm-hmm. So we did very good with NFTs because we switched from that trend to this trend, right? So it worked. Is it going to work next time?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But we're going to keep an eye on it, right?
Right.
That has been doing all right. And most of the NFTs, I think, is pure speculation. Like there's some projects that I think we're going to hold long term that, who knows? But most of them, it's like, if you can make good money, get out of them type of deal.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
And one thing that me and Joe learned is when we can, we always buy at least two. Something does really well, but you believe in the project, you want to keep, but you can't take profit, which I like coins way better for that. You can you can sell a little bit, right? Whereas an NFT, it's like you might spend 20 grand on one. You can't go sell half, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's still a lot
at
of
the moment.
It's coming.
Is there anything where maybe this doesn't work because there's tokenomics around it and there's benefits that you get and then who gets it? But what I was thinking is like, is there some sort of mechanism to like split and for someone to like go in on it with you? Like for like, I own
Paul
this.
actually does that. He came out with, I think it's called Liquid, right?
Liquid Marketplace.
Liquid Marketplace.
Yeah.
I heard him. Yeah. I listen to his podcast every once in a while and he talks about it.
The thing what's not really fair about that either is, or fair, I don't know, I guess it's just people buying, is I would think that it should have been divided into like, for his Pokemon card, for an example, it's in there, right? I haven't done the math myself. I did see that he got a lot more money than he paid for it.
Right.
But I haven't done the math myself. But I did see this one guy said he made like, I think 3-4 million on the side just from dividing it up. Yeah.
So he owns that physical Pokemon card. He started this Liquid Marketplace, and now he's allowing people to buy in a percentage of owning that card. That's what in theory, that's what he's doing?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I haven't.
I checked it out a little bit. I made an account there, and
I have
it's
not
not
put
something
any.
that we're interested in,
right?
For sure.
And that almost seems like a centralized version of a decentralized mechanism that would work. Like if there's a way just within the blockchain for someone, you two guys want to buy in on a Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever it is, right? Not have to go through his marketplace and do it through him, right? Like that.
Yeah. Well, we have some very interesting stuff in the works that I don't have too much information on, but I know is being built behind the scene. Like I talked to the developers a little bit on it. and it's like this, I think, one of the best developers in the space.
Yeah.
And they're like Super Farm is also building a trading platform.
Oh.
Like kind of like OpenSea, but way more advanced than OpenSea. So you can actually start renting out your NFTs. So let's say I have an NFT that gives me a certain kind of whitelist for a project, let's say, but I'm not interested in the project. Let's say it's a project that I don't really care about, right?
It's in a space that isn't within your lane.
Yeah, and I say, you know what, I don't care for it. I can go put my NFT on the marketplace, have it rented out, and say, okay, I want, you can rent it to get that access to the whitelist for this amount. So I get some money off of that. That guy gets the whitelist spot, and away we go. I think you're going to see, once you see that market actually developing, it's going to get very interesting again, because you're going to see all kinds of companies and projects built off of that, right?
Yeah.
And also like or some of our NFTs that we have, once they start doing it, where like just like the Imposters NFT that we hold for the game, we are the ones producing the materials for it within the game. So any money that game produces, it has come through the people holding the imposter. So they are the ones generating the initial money. So we're going to be, I don't know, hopefully we make some good money off of it, right? So let's say like the what was the coin?
V-Bucks?
V-Bucks.
Yeah.
So let's say any V-Bucks that are in circulation, if you had an NFT, you would have built those V-Bucks for the ecosystem. So you would, the players would actually buy them off of you as an investor, right?
Right.
So that's what those NFTs do. And it's going to be interesting. Like there's only 10,000 of them, or 10,400. If that game does really well and big investors want to come in, and I can go rent out my NFT, why would I go sell it to them and say, hey, you can rent it for maybe half of what the NFT makes a month, right?
Right.
So I'm still making profit. I still own the asset. Those guys are renting it, right? So it's going to become an interesting concept down the road. So
especially with the like almost like it's almost infinite the different ways that you can add value to these projects, right? Like, so now if you're Kanye West and you add those, like, like tickets to these private concerts and stuff, and you can rent them for people to get value to that, right? Like, without having to buy the end, because like my thought would be like, oh, well, now somebody's gonna have to buy this this say $100,000 Kanye West NFT. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass right now, but to go to this concert because they really want it, right? If you're but now you could keep your NFT, rent it to them for $10,000 for that night, so they can go to that concert. You're still making value, even if that, you might be a big Kanye West fan, but you have a wedding that weekend or something, right?
Yeah,
now
exactly.
Now that you're just adding value to it.
Yeah, you might be an investor of it, right? You say, I had 10 of them, right? So you can actually build. Like, this is what me and Joe are trying to do, because we're thinking in terms of this. So we're thinking like 5 years down the road, what can we buy that we can do this with in the future,
right?
And generate a passive income off of, build an asset class that's worth lots of money, right? And generate passive income off of renting it out or doing whatever, right? So that's kind of the train of thought we're taking when we do this stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother area of this that I never even thought of.
Yeah, and that's again, I mean, the more you're in the space,
the more you see this stuff,
the more you're going to see it, and you can get into these projects for nothing that might be the next CryptoPunk 5 years down the road, and be worth a crap ton of money, and the general public only wishes they had it, but they can go rent it, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to become, who knows? I don't know. I mean, if I knew, I'd know what I'd be doing. I don't. Yeah. So
if you knew, you'd be sitting on a beach in Cabo right now. So then, I think that's kind of. I'm sure more questions will come to me as I go, but in this actual specific crypto questions of what I have. But other than that, more just curious. We, like I mentioned to people, we got way more into this stuff on the first episode, kind of where you guys come from, your story and all that. But living in Slave Lake again, how things been? How's life? How's things going with you guys? Just kind of aside from all that, how you guys doing?
We don't really have a life outside.
I know that's what you guys said last time. I'm just curious, has that changed? You guys met any, found any friends here?
Well, we've definitely made a lot more connections.
Yeah.
Like we've started another company on the side, like with building this project as well. So we've got all those connections. We
Yeah.
we got another, what is it? Another 4 extra business partners now that
Nice.
we have not even met all yet.
Yeah.
But great connections there. Very some very big guys in there in the traditional space, and connections wise, yeah, we're definitely growing.
Well, that's good. That's good. But still enjoying it down here. Starting, not.
Well, I got a vision for a nice place down in down south where it's a little warmer, right? But that's gonna have to wait until we have some
South like Calgary or South like Mexico, South like Texas?
Texas.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
I just did that road trip to the States and like we went all over in the, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, whatever it was that we were in Texas. That was my favorite. I was born to be in Texas. I love, you're the same. We're very similar people. We found that from the first time we met, but is it just
never been there, but yeah,
it is.
I can look at pictures basically and some videos and I'm like, you know what? That's where I'm going to buy a house.
And even more than that, just the people and how just the politeness and the, maybe it's because everyone's got a gun on their hip or whatever it is, makes people a little more polite, but I just love it. Just everyone's so nice and just you can do whatever you want.
What I really like I'm a redneck at heart, right?
Oh yeah.
I love Slave Lake for that part, right?
Yeah.
Like we are like literally 2 minutes from the lake. Right now at your house, we're like
30 seconds.
30 seconds. We could walk there in a minute.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could go deer hunting 5 minutes out of town, right? It's a great town for what I do. Like, but no other outside of crypto, I don't have much, that I do.
We work in the office all day and then we go home and we try to enjoy an evening yet, but
yeah,
it gets very exhausting for me, like mentally when you're doing that. You're always trying to be one step ahead of what other people think and what to think. It's something that I still got to get used to and learn. So
and usually what comes along if you have something in your life that's very mentally exhausting, the support systems that you can build around yourself that help support that. And I'm just kind of curious, and tell me to fuck off. I'm getting too personal with any of this shit, but like how are you guys doing with that stuff of kind of being on your own, like you're talking about, like it sounds like work keeps you guys so busy, but enough to refill your cup at the end of the day. I know you guys get a lot out. You guys enjoy this so much, you must get a lot out of that as well. But just other than that, like
that is what fills my cup, right?
I know, and I see that too. But I'm just kind of wondering, are you finding that's still enough? Because that's all you got to constantly update with yourself. Like, is that enough? Right?
Yeah.
Because like it might fill you up for 10
no,
10 years.
Family
and
is still on top of it
for sure. And you guys have we talked on the first time. You guys got great women that's supported you through the highs and the lows. And so family's number one.
Yeah, but other than that, like business for me is business, right? And family is family. Like I know when I'm in Discord, I often see people like, at this caliber, even where we're playing with in the elite groups, where there's people that are like, oh, my lady was pissed that I'd spend 20 grand in this. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, I can go spend any amount of money I want, come home and say, hey, I just, I bought 10 of these critters.
Yeah.
How much do you spend? Oh, this is 6 figures.
Yeah.
What? Oh, cool. Hopefully it does well. Right. Yeah. So,
and you can't put a price on that.
No.
People go their whole lives looking for exactly what you just described there, probably in a different sense, but the spirit behind that.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I can't complain. I mean, so for me, business stays at, like, I don't, she doesn't really even care on that. So it's
we obviously have some meetings during the evening as well sometimes.
Yeah. You guys work 24/7. It seems like.
So no, it's
always
great,
available.
Man. It's
really
it's awesome. I'm very, very happy that we got to connect with the business people that we did now with the project that we're building. Like, that's something that I couldn't put a price tag on. So that to me is a lot.
Not just, I mean, again, stop me if I'm wrong, but I mean, not just like the financial aspect of it, but the learning.
I have not gotten any financial gift out of that.
Yeah.
Who knows if I will, right?
Yeah, but that's still to be seen.
Yeah. Like, I do nothing. Like, Joe actually had a funny thing today where a friend of ours wanted him to come give him a hand tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
He's like, maybe you can make some extra cash on the side. And Joe's like, I don't do anything for cash. You're not going to get me to go work for money.
Yeah.
Trade it with something else. I'm cool, but I'm not going to go spend my time at your place to make money. That's the last thing I'll do, right? So, yeah,
exactly. This winter, I was, in a big snowstorm in Edmonton at my parents' place, and I was out, using the bobcat, clearing the snow, and one of the neighbors came on and said, "Oh, how much can I pay to come do it?" Not like I'll come do it. There's no way. There's no amount of money. Like that's just not.
Well, and once you start what changed my mindset 100% to where we got to where we are now is stop working for money.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yes, you need to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Yes, there's things that you need to do, but if you look for money up front in everything you do, you will never have money, right? So when we started doing something that we enjoy doing, of course we want to make money. Yeah. And I've said this many times, we do everything for money. But if I have to go, just like for an example, go help my friend and, I'm going to pay you. Nah, don't pay me. Yeah. I'll horse trade you for,
well, you help me next time I need a hand.
Exactly.
Like
move a piano.
I get way more value out of that than what I get out of a $20 bill.
Yeah.
What am I going to go do with that?
Yeah.
Go buy a chocolate bar and it's gone again. Whereas if I can go trade value or friendship for friendship and have some fun with, next guy comes, helps you or whatever, to me is way more, right? And that's how we do our business as well. Like if we go build something in the crypto space, it's built the same way. We never even talk about how much money can I make. Yeah. Can we provide value? Can I get value? And if we can make this work, sure, there's going to be a payout at the end, but it's always at the end. So we have so many postponed incomes, hopefully sometime down the road. Right. So
chickens come to roost. And that's the thing, right? If you have money as that number one motivating factor that's drawing you all around, like that carrot in front of you, you're going to follow 99% of people and you're going to be behind. Like you talked about, everything you've talked about for the last 2 hours has been, you have to get out in front of that stuff. And if you're just following what every other lemur's doing, every other buffalo going off the cliff, you're going to be right off that cliff with them, right? Whereas when you can separate from that, it doesn't mean you don't make money, really, like you said, but when you find something that you can elevate above that to the highest position, right? Yeah. Which is so funny. This is going to go down a whole other rabbit hole, but I think that's what's so funny, because for thousands and thousands of years, that was religion. Everybody had religion, right? Like it's only in the last 50, 60 years that's kind of fallen off. But that was always the thing. Everyone had some higher thing that elevated. But then after that, kind of everyone became money. Money is now, if money's not that number, but now everyone does the same thing. And then nobody can, why is it not working? I'm chasing the money like everyone's telling me to do, and then it doesn't work out, right? Yeah. Like this podcast, if I was to, if I was just to chase the guests that would bring me the most, that have the most social media followers or whatever, and I didn't give a fuck, this thing would crash and burn in no time, because it's going to be very clear to people that I don't give a fuck that I'm talking to people. I would talk to you guys 3 times a week over some guy with a bunch of followers that I don't care, that's a social media influencer that I couldn't give a shit about.
I was just going to say, you definitely don't have us on here for our followers.
Exactly, right? Like but from day one, we sat down, and at 10 minutes in, I think that first day we talked to each other for probably 8 hours, right? Like we did a 3-hour podcast, plus we talked for 5 hours, right? That's just that, and that's genuine. But I know that's going to come across, right? Like when we sat down on this piece of paper, how many questions I have written down for you guys?
Yeah, you got none on there.
0, right? But I know that we're going to have a conversation, because every time we do, or every time, Ben, you give me a call, even if it's just to ask 1 or 2 questions, we're going to bullshit for 20 minutes about something or other, right? Because that's just genuine interest, and that's what comes across. But if it was money or clout or hype, whatever label you want to put on it, that's your motivating factor, you're never going to find success, or you're going to fall in your face.
So I don't know if I'm doing this right. I take it for what it's worth, but for me, what really gets me, what keeps me going and keeps me interested in the space, and you come to a certain level, and I don't think I haven't reached. I've reached the level where I don't have to starve to go pay my bills.
Right.
I've not reached the level where I think, for the lifestyle that I want, that I just have an absurd amount of money kicking around. I don't care about money, right? But I set my goal on extreme money. Like my goals are highly money related, right? Yeah. But then I go out in the business, and I go do things vice versa. I do everything for the money less. I go and build every relationship, every business. I build everything not for money. Yeah. And so my goal, what I have and how I do things are very contradicting. Yeah. Like on my piece of paper as a goal, you'd think that I'd be going out and just chopping heads off looking for money. Yeah. When I go out, it's vice versa. Like we drove to Calgary, 6-hour drive. Yeah. It was a charity thing. stayed for the night, it was the next day. So it's a 6-hour drive one way, right?
Yeah.
So it's 12 hours of driving. Cost me what? Two tanks of gas and a hotel room.
Which is expensive these days.
Some supper and, whatever. 2 days out of the office. I didn't trade that for any amount of cash. I wouldn't have done it for cash, right? So, just things like that. It's just, I have this goal. People would think I don't have a money goal. Yeah. Because when I go do business, it looks like I don't care. But in the back end, it always comes back.
Exactly. Right. And that's like, and me saying that about like the followers and stuff, don't for a second think I don't want this to be a huge success. I want tons of people to listen to it. But I know that if I go chasing that, it's not going to be the result. And I've listened to podcasts of people that like, I'll be quite honest with you guys, like I own two NFTs, right? The Sugar Sean one and the Full Send one. And I love Full Send for everything they did on YouTube. And they started a podcast, and it's probably just below Joe Rogan, the most popular podcast right now. They've skyrocketed.
Ever since they did Trump, huh?
Right? Even before that, but that definitely didn't hurt. Didn't hurt. Yeah. But they are so successful, and even still, the quality of the product is hindered because you can feel that is their goal, that it's not genuine, it's to grow it. They want it to be the number one, and they chase guests that sometimes they're interviewing these, like they'll interview like Rick Ross or like some of these guys, and they're asking questions that they're just happy to have this guy that they know is going to bring in followers, but it comes across, it's the podcast isn't the actual content of what the podcast provides. And I'm saying this as one of their biggest fans. It's not what it could be, and it comes across, right? Yeah. And they would be way more successful. They don't see it that way because they're so based in this, and this is what they've chased their whole life, and that's kind of how they operate around. But it is not everything that podcast could be. It is, they hinder their own product by that. And it just happens that they're super smart and they can get around it. But like, they would be eclipsing Joe Rogan if they could do it right, and they would let go of that, and they would just chase a little bit more of the genuineness. I'm telling you, it would be even bigger than it is now. But, and it comes across, and like that reinforces to me of like, they had such a high starting grade that there's no way they could fail. They had such a jumping off point that like, even though they're disingenuous in how they're chasing it, there's no way it could fail. But if they could have, and that's to me like, oh, I don't have that jumping off. I have to start from the start. But if I start doing that now without that jumping off point, I would be on my face so quickly, and people would they would turn us off and be like, oh, this is unlistenable. Right. Yeah. And people might think that anyways. Who fucking knows? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know for a fact that's going to lead me to it. Yeah. Right. No, that's the thing. I got to hear from lots of people, and that was, I think I already mentioned this, but like the people that came out of the woodwork after I had you guys on about this, that I just never would have thought had any interest in this. I really want to help people in this space. Right. Yeah. And one thing I don't want to do though is people want to be spoon fed. Right.
We get messages on, do you think we're in bear market? Do you think we're in bull market? Yeah. Do you think this? Do you think that? What I just said about the trends and how I look at them, I want you to learn how to look at them that way.
Exactly.
Because
you're going to do a disservice to that.
Crypto is a very vicious space. Yeah. And we are in a day and age where we all want to point fingers at someone else. Crypto doesn't allow you to do that.
Right.
Because if you have a MetaMask and you do something wrong and it's gone, there's nobody you can go cry on other than yourself. And most people don't. So they're very bitter in the space on that, right? Yeah. And if you want to make it a success, if we had people that just spoon-fed us, we might have had a lot more money, but we wouldn't have any knowledge.
Right.
And we
definitely
you would lose
that money in a hurry.
No, and we definitely wouldn't enjoy what we're doing, right?
So depending on what if that guy's gone?
Yeah.
And now you have nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we're growing our skills as we're going, right? And if I just want to go spoon feed someone that's just starting off on it and say, hey, I just found this project, go buy this. Yeah, I'll give tips. Like I said, music, all these different industry sectors. But if you have to go hunt for yourself, you'll learn a lot more
for sure
than if if I just bring the deer to you. Say, here it is.
Slap it on your table.
Yeah, go have a steak.
Yeah.
So
interesting. And I think that was very apparent to me from the very moment that I met you guys, how much that it is genuine that you guys want to help people with, and that you see what, and I think I was drawn to that so quickly because I see that, and like that's the reason I started this podcast, because I got to see in the same way that crypto did so much for you guys and changed so much for you guys. Like that's what podcast did for me, right? Like coming out of school and like going through the university system and just being so disenfranchised with it, and like, oh man, I thought I was going to come there and have my mind tested and be brought in just to see this. It was not what I thought. And I was so down. And then to find podcasts, and that was exactly what I was searching for when I went to university. Like these really interesting conversations with really smart people, and like just testing ideas and pitting each other against it. So like that's exactly what I was missing, and it changed my life. Completely changed my life. And now I want to do that for other people. And that's the motivating factor, way more than money, way more than any clout.
Exactly.
That's what motivates, right? And I could see that with you guys of like,
yeah,
sure, you guys
because in all honesty, we would not have a YouTube channel for the fun of having a YouTube channel. Right?
Exactly.
We just
right?
wouldn't. And it goes to show, because it's been a big lack of ours. Yeah. But we've been super busy with some other stuff, and we've been pushing this off and pushing it off, and
we still can't have an excuse on that.
No, it's still an excuse.
Same with me. I'm 2 years into this. I still don't have a goddamn video component.
Like there's you need to step up.
I know. And that's it. Yeah. And I have so many excuses in my head that I
have to sponsor you on that.
Hey, well, if we start doing this every second week where we sit down and do this, right? Like that stuff can work out. But yeah, no, like to say there's no excuse and to know there's no excuse. And at the same time, I have 10 different excuses I could throw you right now,
exactly,
right? Like, and who doesn't? Who doesn't have that? But to know, I think that's important to know that. Doesn't matter. I could have 50 billion excuses, and to know that there's no excuse, right? Like that's such a hard. I think you guys will understand.
It still makes me mad when I look in the mirror, right?
Same, and that's you touch upon a touchy subject there, but like it's such a weird thing to like I've left or step back from my full-time job mostly, and to be pursuing this full time and doing everything I love and being so happy with that and like enjoying life enjoyment, but still when I look in the mirror, it's a tough thing to do, because I know.
Yeah, because you come to a point, and I realize this, and I don't know if there's any help at all, but like I realize like you can't have an excuse, right? Excuses will never get you to the next level, right? But I come up with all these dumb excuses, but then I also realized if you want to be mediocrity. Oh man, I slaughter that word. But being medium or being okay, life doesn't reward you for it.
No,
you have to be above exceptional. You have to be great is okay. Being like in the 0.1%, that's where life changes forever.
Right.
And we want to always slack. We're like, oh, I'm okay with being okay. No, you suck.
Yeah.
Done. Go say yourself that in the mirror.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You suck. Get back.
I do
to
plenty of that. Yeah.
Like you know what? No, me too. But and sometimes I'm too hard on myself, and you lack motivation on that too. But what I'm saying is, we know that. But I also came to realization that in order to be the best, you just have to be 0.1% better than the best. And that just means working that little bit harder.
Yeah.
And that is where all the rewards are. That's the people, that's the Elon Musk. They're just 0.1% more active than the next guy. Right. So it's everybody's okay with being okay. People think if they're great, then they're great. But in this world, great is just okay.
Yeah.
You got to be on top of great in order to actually succeed, like abundantly.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
for sure,
especially in the crypto space.
Yeah, and the podcast space. I think that
everywhere,
probably every fucking space there is to be space. Be space. That didn't make no sense. You know what I meant.
Are you out in space, Nick?
Yeah. Oh, man, I feel like I had one too many Coronas here. Oh fuck, that's funny. Yeah, no, and it's that weird space to be to know all that and to still. It's like you're living in both worlds, to know very deeply that all those things are true and to still give yourself those excuses. And I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism of trying to make yourself feel okay or what it is.
It's also bad habits, right? Like, like
you're just tearing me apart right now. You're right on the money.
Like it is. I mean, you come to a point where you know it, but it's not that easy to change. Change is not easy. It's hard. Yeah. It's freaking hard to change, man. And it's not like I don't want to be in the top 0.1%. And I'm working towards it. Yeah. But you got to realize and look in the mirror and say, you're not there.
Yeah. And my habits will never let me be there unless I change wholesale.
And you got to look in the mirror and say, are you in that 0.01%?
Yeah.
If not, you got to go back to yourself and say, hey, you're not there.
Yeah.
You don't have an excuse to not be there. Because I learned something very interesting today when I was in the gym. I heard this saying, and it just kind of hit me a little hard.
It's been ringing around your head since.
Yeah, and it was I don't know. I'll probably butcher this guy too, but this guy, like he said, he's like, the only thing any human deserves, and we all get, is an opportunity.
Yeah.
What we do with that opportunity, that's up to us. But the only thing any human deserves, and we've all gotten, is an opportunity. What we do with that opportunity is up to us.
Yeah.
Right. But we work until we get to the opportunity. Getting to the opportunity is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like, you got to work hard to get to that opportunity. You get to that opportunity, and then you don't take action.
Yeah.
So now you're back down, working hard to get to an opportunity, not take the action.
Yeah.
This is where you become great, is when you have an opportunity, take that.
Yeah.
With a leap of faith and hard work, and keep pushing, right?
Yeah.
And most of us stop when we get to the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of opportunities, though. That's where it comes down to, you make a go, and then you will find the opportunity that is fit for your goal.
Yeah.
But still, finding an opportunity that fits you is hard.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to good opportunities a lot of times. But you have to also recognize when they're there and take action on it. Most people don't. They it's
and when you talk about like habits and stuff too, is so much of that is, are your habits enabling you to take advantage of the opportunities, right? Like, if you're if you're all the examples I wanted way too close. If you're staying up too late, not getting up, not doing your workouts, not doing all that, not being the person that you need to be, when an opportunity comes knocking, you're not that person that can take advantage of it. And that's nobody's fault but your own, right?
Exactly.
And it's easy for me to say, like, oh, well, when that opportunity comes knocking, I know that I have it within me, because I've been that guy before. I have busted that. I've accomplished things in my life that I know I have that within me, and I'm not doing it right now, and that tears me apart. And I know it's nobody's fault but mine. But to sit here and go, like, when that opportunity comes knocking, I know I'm going to have that within me to knock it out of the park. Well, if I'm not being that guy, those opportunities are never going to come, because I'm not being that person.
Well, you bring up a good point, and I do this not enough, but I really started reflecting on, like, let's say you have a 3-year goal, like become 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 year, whatever, right? But the goal of who you'd want to be, the person you'd want to be, and pick your favorite guy of you, who you look up to the most, right? And say, okay, this is kind of who I want to be. Yeah. And then you look at who you are today, and if you're there, then that means your goal is not good enough. You should be that should be a long stretch, right? But you look at it and then you say, am I doing everything I need to do today to be like that guy I want to be? And if you're not doing what that guy is doing, you're not going to get that goal. Like goals work so funny in a way of you have to do what that guy is doing in order to get there. People think, once I get to my goal, then I'll do what that guy's doing. It's vice versa.
That will never happen.
I'm famous for that. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Everybody is. Yeah.
Because I know that we worked probably almost harder before we reach our first goal than we do now. Not in the sense of how many hours we put into it. We put more hours into it now, but we had a full-time job then, and then we'd do this all night yet. So.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And I should still be doing that. Right. It's like, how bad do you want it? How fast do you want to get there, right?
And that's where priorities come in. And
you have to treat family as well, right?
Yeah.
Or you'll have your $10 billion and be sitting on your yacht with no family.
Yeah, by yourself.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of things that play into it, right? But like I say, like if you pick this is the guy you want to be. Yeah. And you look in the mirror and say, I got out of bed at 9. Yeah. I went to bed at 2. Yeah. I know that guy's got to get up at 6 to get his workout in and to get his stuff done that he needs to do. So I better start doing that too, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and especially in crypto, if you want to be on top, And I think this is in every sector. I know it is, but I can only talk from crypto because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that is, it's the great people that really succeed. The other people are left with, you know, the stuff that gets onto crypto.com and all the icing has been licked off of the cake already. You get the dry crumbs, buddy. I'll give you the, this is the leftover stuff that dried up on my plate. I'll give it to you guys in crypto.com. All the good stuff I've eaten long before it gets to crypto.com.
Right.
And it's just because there's a little bit of a bigger drive and there's a little bit more of everything, right?
And I think a big piece of that too is the stick-to-itiveness and not quitting and that intuition, all those, and that knowledge that you've built up by getting your ass fucking handed to you and not giving up and going back for more, right? Diving back into that pool and going in for more too. And that is something that can't be discounted too, because so many people would have given up. So many people in your guys' position would have given up at 6 different points along the way.
I've never got my ass handed to me. I would have my ass handed to me if I gave up. I've never got it handed to me because I never gave up.
Right.
I never allowed my ass to be handed to me. I always said, you know what? I'm just that one step closer to getting there, right? So,
but I think that's exceptional.
Yes, but
I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't.
I know. But what I'm saying is that's when you get your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
Is when you give up and you surrender. That's when you can't go look in the mirror.
Right.
But if you get back up, you're technically you haven't gotten your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
You're still going, right? So I mean,
yeah, I think that's easy to, I just find for myself, that's easy to lose track of though, because I know that. And I say that all the time. That's something I you know, it probably sound like a broken record on this podcast. I'm like, the only way I will fail at this is if I give up. As long as I keep trying, keep putting out episodes and stuff, even if it's not what I want it to be, I still haven't given up. But even though I know that, still it's hard to look in the mirror and it's hard to, it sure feels like failure, but right. Like when you're in it, it's hard to see the forest for the trees a bit, right? On that. And I think it's good to hear it from somebody else too. That kind of reminds you like, oh yeah, I have said that a bunch and I do believe that, right? Like I need to feel that a bit too, right?
And I always say, like especially when you start off on something like what we did in crypto, and the only reason we got to where we are is we had a goal that was worth dying for, right? Like we said at any cost we can get to this, right? Yeah. Like you have to say, what am I worth giving up? When you set a goal or you want to do something, you always got to calculate, what am I willing to pay? What price am I willing to pay, right?
Yeah, because I know like when we met one of our mentors we still have today, he's like, I kind of told him our goal and he's like, have you missed a meal yet? He's like, yeah, I've missed a meal. Yeah. Like, okay, then you're almost there. But he's like, before you've had to suffer and maybe you there wasn't enough food you could buy to eat, you're not going to get it because you have to have the drive.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, are you willing to go without your morning coffee to get to that? Yeah. If you're not even willing to give up your morning coffee and drive through Tim Hortons to pick up that coffee, I got bad news
Heck,
for you.
I had to give off my Corona for a bit.
Yeah.
Not for a bit.
Yeah.
I got bad news for you, right? I mean, and I said this to the kids at the college there when we were there. I said, you know what? I said, I don't recommend you guys put any money in. I want you to learn, understand the space. But I said, once you start understanding the space, you got no excuse. I said, if you got a part-time job, I said, which they probably all do or will have, or a full-time job, I said, you have an extra $5 or $10 a month.
Yeah. And that's enough to get started, right?
That's enough.
Yeah. That's enough to learn, make some mistakes and learn some lessons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Everyone gets so focused on the big home runs that they don't realize, just making those mistakes.
And they're not willing to pay the price. Like I see so many people that, even friends and family, that are like, man, I wish I could do what you're doing. No, you don't. You haven't paid a damn penny. Yeah. You got to put some blood on the line. Yeah. If you're not willing to do that, you haven't paid any price. If you're not up all night because you don't know how you're going to pay your next bill, and you're going to hunt down something, you haven't paid that big of a price yet.
Right.
If you're not willing to sacrifice your morning coffee, a simple thing as that, to put that extra in, you haven't really tried that hard.
Right.
Like you can't say you tried hard and you still go through Tim Hortons and pick up your coffee.
Yeah.
You have not tried.
Yeah, and that's like a big thing. Most people say they've tried hard, but they still go to, drink away all their extra money every Friday.
Or gamble at the VLTs and
anything. Like,
yeah.
How much are you willing to give up, right? And
I say that fucking being guilty of all the things we're talking about. So I'm not
well, you also have to enjoy life. That's
exactly,
the
and
other
that's
thing.
But that can be one of the biggest excuses too.
But before you've earned it, you don't deserve to enjoy your life.
Yeah, I get this all the time, and I listened to someone's podcast a while back when I was in the gym, and he talked about this very topic of, we live in this vicious cycle where most people hate their job. They go to work, do something they don't enjoy, and after a few years' time, they're like, well, dang, I deserve to live. I got to reward myself for this miserable thing I put myself through, right?
Yeah.
So they go finance something that they can't afford to go have fun because, of course, they deserve it, right? And now, what are you going to end up doing? Now you got to just work there longer and harder to pay off what you thought you deserved in the first place.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're deserving more debt. You're working yourself into a grave that is a very bitter grave because 5 years down the road, you got more debt, and you say, well, I deserve a new truck now because I've worked my ass off. Well, now you go through that debt. 10 years later, you're like, I deserve a better truck. I worked my ass off and I still don't have this thing paid for. I got to upgrade it. I deserve it, right?
Yeah.
So I always say before, if you have to work for something that you don't enjoy, and that money doesn't go towards something that you enjoy, you don't deserve shit.
Yeah.
Nada. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like you don't deserve one coffee. You don't go buy yourself a coffee. Like if you're not putting that money towards something that you enjoy doing, like we literally put every single dollar into crypto to get to where we are today, right? Yeah. And if you're not willing to go to that extent, do you really deserve that, right?
And I think that's just such a painful thing for people to...
It's reality.
It's reality, but reality is so painful for so many people that they will escape reality. And what is life becoming for so many people? Just escaping reality, right?
Yeah. And look, Elon Musk is a perfect example for that. What did he do after he sold PayPal? What would most people have done? What did he walk away with? 150 mil or something?
Something like that, yeah.
What did he do? He used it as collateral and borrowed another, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
It depends. Like if that's the thing. If 100 million had been his goal, he would have bought himself a couple CDs in the house and be like, there we go.
Well, yeah, it all comes down to what you're willing, what your goal is and what you want out of life, right? But you can't go and complain and cry and say, well, I deserve this or I deserve that. The only thing you deserve is an opportunity, and you've gotten that. And if you haven't gotten it, it's because you've lay in bed all day. You didn't work for that. Just like you said, you missed the opportunity because you didn't put in the work. Yeah.
And life is an opportunity. Just to wake up every morning, that's an opportunity, right? Yeah. It's just about your priorities and your perspective. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And there's so many different ways that can be that perspective shaker. And sometimes it's listening to a podcast. There's probably somebody that's going to listen to this that this is the perspective they need to make a change, right? Sitting here, I have all the plans in the world to make some changes, right? Because I know,
Me too. Dude, I struggle. I struggle all the time. Yeah. Like, what is life without struggle? Like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I wish, like, a good friend of mine the other day, he came into the office and, I said, it's going to be so much fun once we get to the next level where I can actually take a breath and, just enjoy life a little more and maybe go buy a nice car or buy a boat and just, coast a little, right? Or and he's like, oh, you poor little guy, you've given up so much of your life. Like, you should. I was like, dude, you're making me sound like an idiot. He's like, because you are. He's like, you haven't done shit yet. You got to work harder, man. You haven't sacrificed that much. Sure, you went through some things. Yeah. But, dude.
There's always more.
There's always more. Like, what are you willing to give up? And have you given up that much in reality? Yeah. Like, no, not really.
Yeah. And that's a scary question to ask too. I mean, no. I don't even want to fucking ask myself that question. I ain't giving up shit, right? Like, and to know that, and then to be dissatisfied with where you're at when you know you haven't given up shit, like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a.
It makes me mad. Like it really does make me mad when I go to the office or I come home from the office and I'm like, man, you know, it sometimes, I don't know. I mean, but there's always obstacles and there's always these mental and physical challenges that you go through, or especially mindset that, you know, you struggle with this. Yeah. You keep pounding the dirt on it, and then all of a sudden you break through, and then you reach the next level, and then you feel a different pain, and you go through that.
And sometimes that suffering, even if it's just you railing against yourself, which is the suffering you're feeling is 100% self-caused, but you railing against that suffering is what's going to build you to that point to break through, like you're talking about, right? Like
sure.
You'd be much better off railing against something that's actually standing in front of you instead of, you know, fighting against yourself. But sometimes I think that's just so deep in the human psyche to do that it happens way more often than we'd like to admit. Yeah. And it's you fighting against yourself. That's it. Right? That's 99% of people.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, man. It's an interesting world, and it's, you know, not that easy, but hey, it's fun if you want to make it fun, right?
And you know, just not giving up and not letting your ass get handed to you, like you put it, right? That's gonna that's gonna keep you in the game and put you in touch with more people that are gonna help grow opportunities, right? And you're gonna, as long as you don't give up on it.
Because you know what, we went through this time where we were the only freaking people on planet Earth. Felt like there was not a single soul that cared about what we did. It did not matter what. Like, there was no mercy for us. Yeah. Zero. Yeah. Like, nobody gave a flying shit if we were dead or alive. Right? It's like, and you will face that when you're growing. Yeah. Especially if you're doing something out of the norm. Like, and if I hadn't gone through that, I couldn't be who I am today, right? But then all of a sudden, like, you meet one amazing person and your life has changed forever. Yeah. Right? But would you have met that amazing person if you hadn't been going through that? No, you wouldn't have, right? So it's all growing pains. It's just we're all in different chapters, right? Yeah. But you can't give up there. Why would you want to go halfway through a desert and go back? Yeah. Because it's hot and dry and you're thirsty. Yeah. Keep trucking. Why do you want to get cooked there? Why do you want to go back and go cooked? Because, you know, it's like this, it's kind of like a joke, but it's not a joke in most people's lives. Is, you know, this guy swims half across the river and decides he can't make it, so he swims back. Yeah. There's so many people that do that, right? Like they find a bump in the road and it looks impossible, so it's just as far to go back. Probably even worse. It's like 3/4 across, because.
Well, the time they give up, they're usually almost across, because and we realize that to this day, every time things get really, really rough, me and Ben look at each other and like, you know what? We got a big win coming. Yeah. Because
never fails. Never fails. When everything crashes, dude, and it feels like the world is done. Yeah. We don't know how we're going to go through next month with how things are. I always say when shit hits the fan, I get excited because I know we have another big win just around the corner if I keep on keeping on, right? Yeah. So
don't give up.
Keep your eye open for something.
And the other thing that you can't do is you can't frown upon. You can't sit and feel sorry for yourself during that time, because if you do, you've missed the opportunity. Yeah,
because you're so busy feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah, you're so busy feeling sorry and sad for yourself.
Coming up with excuses.
You missed the opportunity. That's like literally like 2 footsteps off from you. But well, here's a good example. Yesterday it was what's today? Is Monday? Yeah. Okay, yesterday's Sunday. So we went to the lake and had, you know, kids, let them throw some rocks and just have fun, right? And I met Joe there. He'd been, you know, doing the same thing, right? And I was like, hey Joe, I called him. I was like, did you look for any fish hooks? Because the lake's really low, right? Yeah. And he's like, no, I didn't even look for them. And I go out there and I find 6 or 7 hooks, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's the same in life. Like if you just sit and feel sorry for it, you might be stepping on the very thing that could get you to the next thing, right? But you're so busy doing other
My goal
things.
was different. I'll rather go to Canadian Tire and pay $8 a hut.
I was just I was just having fun, right?
I know.
The kids enjoy it, and we just go around and see if we can find some hooks that are buried in the sand or hooked into the rocks, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's what I mean. Like we get so
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, so much of this is just ringing a little bit more true than I'd like it to, and
Same for me. That's life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The hardest thing is facing reality.
Once truth doesn't hurt anymore, then I don't know. I guess then I've reached all our goals, and
that's
we're just
time to hang them up.
Yeah, we're just floating on clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd suck too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, like we talked about, I think we got to do this more often, every second week or something.
Yeah, and I talked to Joe today, and I said, like, we talked about having this very conversation with you on, we have so many people that ask these very questions, or they feel overwhelmed. And me and Joe are going to make the effort to make a video showing people exactly how we would restart from scratch if we had to, which, just basically saying, look, here's, we're not going to go make another video on how to set up a MetaMask, and you can watch that, but basically have a 15-20 minute video on, look, this is how we go into CoinGecko. This is what we look for. This is how we do it, and just do that. So we're keep an eye on that in our channel. We're going to be doing that in the next little bit.
And also the Instagram account, same Blockchain Bros, and do you have a Twitter account for it too?
We have a Twitter account.
Is it Blockchain Bros?
It's _bros, right? Let me double check.
Yeah, I better double check that. And then, I think once we start doing it consistently every 2 weeks, then I think you can start just keeping a list of, once you have a schedule like that, you can say, okay, in between those 2 weeks, when things come up, that'd be good to talk. You write it down, and then we come into it with a list.
And if people have questions, I'd be more than happy to sit and answer them and do that. I think.
Yeah, and if it makes a good YouTube video, it makes a good YouTube video. If it's something we can discuss, And sometimes it's gonna take maybe 2 YouTube videos and 3 podcasts for a certain topic to really and everything's gonna be different.
So the Twitter is I just had it disappear. So the Twitter is _BlockBros.
_BlockBros. Okay.
I can send you the links.
And I can throw that in the description. I'm probably just going to edit this up right after this and get it uploaded for tomorrow morning and Tuesday. And then,
nice.
We'll have to start dropping some bombs on there as well. Yeah. We hate social media. So.
I know. Same here. And but I use that as a big excuse.
I purely do this because I enjoy talking like this. But I hate.
I think everybody knows that by now.
Yeah. And I'm in much of the same boat, but I think I use that as an excuse.
Me too.
I know I don't like it. And I know that's not who I am, but at a certain point, that's what it's going to take. And eventually,
you know what? And I know I could enjoy it though. I could make it enjoyable. Yeah. And we just have to get to that point where we make it enjoyable. Take the time to do it and make it enjoyable, and then. I think it'd be fun. We have some great stuff planned for the audience down the road. Yeah. So,
And I'm really excited to hear about what you guys are unveiling in Vegas in a couple of weeks. I'm pumped for that.
That's going to be interesting. Too bad I can't be there.
It's too bad, but
so I'll be back on the 16th that week.
16th? So, all right. Well, maybe we can plan to do maybe the next one right when you're back, and we can capitalize right on the excitement of everything rolling out, and we can... roll into it from there. Anything else we missed that we should have bullshit about that we didn't?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, once again, thanks for coming over. Thanks for the beers. Always appreciate a couple Ronas. And we'll do this again in 2 weeks, and we'll start getting a little bit more consistent on it every second week. We'll hop into this and
and thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Always a pleasure.
And if there's just even one person that can say, hey, I learned a little something, it gets me one step closer to my passion, then that's all I care about, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome. Okay. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys in a bit. All right. Thanks for everybody for listening all the way through. That was a great episode, if I do say so myself. Like always, if you could do me a favor of following the Von Dubcast, follow the guests, reach out to them, let them know that you enjoyed the conversation. That always really helps with getting guests back on, and kind of word gets around that it's a great time and more people are willing to come on. Like I said, we're probably going to be doing a bi-weekly episode with these two gentlemen. And if you have any questions in the crypto world, any projects you're interested in, anything you guys want us to break down, please send it my way or send it to their social medias, Blockchain Bros, and we will do our best to get to any and all of them. And I think we have a start of something really special here. So I'm excited to bring it to you guys. I forgot to mention the intro, my new Oilers podcast I started with my best friend Chase Rao. It's called Oilers Uncensored. It's on the same feed as the Von Dubcast. Just scroll back. If you found this episode, you should be able to find those. And we've had 3 episodes so far. I think this week we're going to be doing a playoff breakdown with our other buddy Fraser Oliver. He's a Leafs fan, so we're going to have to make an exception on some of the podcast rules to bring him on. We're going to do a little bit of a playoff breakdown maybe on Saturday. So really excited about that. Check out those episodes. We've been getting great feedback on them. Even if you're not an Oilers fan or a hockey fan, a lot of it is us just being goofballs, making fun of each other, cracking jokes. We have a great time, and I think you guys will really like it. So if you want to check that out, please do. Other than that, have a great week. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. This means the world to me to be able to do this, and it's all because of you guys that listen to me blather on and talk like an idiot. So I appreciate it. You guys have a great week. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye. 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 Next one.